In a place that used to be a city, where fragments of civilization can barely be recognized, a man holds another down while huffing profusely. The guy with blue eyes and white hair notes that he knew it. He is much different than the other useless bastards he was with. The man tells him to shut it, but the guy urges him to do what he came here for. He should kill him, as he is the only one who can do it in the first place. But the man refuses, as he will not be the one who makes his hands red with his blood. He promised everyone on this team that he would put him on the chair, so justice is served as it should be. He will be punished according to the law. Now that he thinks about it, he still regrets this day, as he should have killed him when he had the chance. Later, the news reveals that the infamous villain, Sunghwan Huang, the person who made the entire world scared, has been captured and swiftly sentenced to death. To ensure maximum safety, a superpower suppression device has been placed on him, and he has also been imprisoned on the 5th basement floor of the Ruculus prison, famous for holding every villain at one point. Additionally, the mighty heroes who fought along Gangyu Seo will be buried together, and their burial will be held tonight, to commemorate that their sacrifice was not for nothing. Gang Yu can barely look at them, even if they are on the TV. But as he looks, someone closes the TV behind him and says that he's still in recovery, so he shouldn't be watching TV. This is his brother, Gang Ho Seo, the Ruculus prison inspector. Seeing his brother, Gang Yu looks at his hands and a darkness envelops him, as he should have killed that bastard with his own 2 hands. Gang Ho says that he promised it to his teammates after all. There was nothing he could do. Before the attack, one of them said that heroes are heroes because they save people. It's not their duty to kill criminals. So on this mission, they will not kill anyone, even if they are a villain who has done terrible things, as criminals were once people too, so at least they shall stand trial. Gang Yu appreciated her little daydreaming, but what if they get killed? That's when she made him promise that even if they die, he shall not kill anyone, even if they deserve it. Gang Ho agrees with that same notion, as people should be sentenced to death by law only. However, correctional officers like him are the ones who have to carry out the sentences. He shouldn't tell him this, but Huang will be executed the next week, and he will also be there. He already did his job as a hero. The rest he can leave to the legal system. They should go and say his final goodbyes to his teammates. At the site where the heroes were buried, countless flowers and messages are placed, while everyone is screaming for the swift death of Huang. Gang Yu also went to place a single blue flower, but a week after this, on the day of Huang's execution, Gang Ho was killed. The killer who killed countless people in the name of a bygone ideology survived, yet his brother, who did everything for the law and was a dutiful man, died. As he sits down at Gang Ho's funeral place, a woman by the name of Se Yun Jo, the Ruculus prison warden, arrives and asks if he would like to talk for a minute. When he agrees, she hands him a video of what happened during Huang's execution. Reluctantly, he watches it. When they were all dragging Huang to his final moments, he recognized Gang Ho as Gang Yu's brother, and also felt that he didn't have a single superpower. Is that why he's a prison guard? He also wondered which one of them was older, but Gang Ho didn't indulge him, until he asked how he feels when he takes someone's life. Since he is an executioner, he probably killed a lot of people, just like he did. So how does it feel? He will tell it first, that it feels pretty easy. Gang Ho asked how he can say that, but Huang was quite literal, because as soon as he scrapes someone with his finger, they go pop, in an explosion of viscera and blood. Gang Ho said that they are not the same, as he is ridden with extreme guilt whenever he has to kill someone. Even monsters like him, even though all he does is press one measly button, he still gets night terrors and can barely sleep anymore. Even if they are people who deserve it, the prisoners he executes live in his head rent-free, and will haunt him until he dies. Huang asks why he's still working here if that's the case, but Gang Ho notes that someone has to. It's just a job at the end of the day. When the execution was about to commence, Gang Ho asked for Huang's last words, but he just asked who's older between him and his brother with a sick smile, prompting Gang Ho to start the execution. The reverse countdown started, and at 1, the video cut off. Se Yun explains that right after the moment of execution, all of the power in the facility shut down, which was done by an unidentified EMP strike, allowing Huang to escape. All of the correctional officers got down, and the eldest out of them called for backup over the radio, as the prisoner they were carrying has escaped. But as soon as Huang touched him, he started to convulse and grow blemishes, until, like he said, he exploded, right in front of Gang Ho. Huang went up to him and said that he must be the elder brother, but he would like some confirmation. Gang Ho did not know what to do, so he did what his job entitled him to do, attack Huang. Naturally, he didn't have a chance, as Huang just took his arm off, but he was still pressed about who's older between them. He must know. Even in his awful state, Gang Ho picked up his baton and charged in, as justice must be served, and monsters like him shall be killed. At that moment, Huang compressed him into a lump of flesh. Now, the EMP strike has set all of the prisoners on every floor free, meaning that they now control the prison entirely. They fortunately managed to stop them from breaking out, but many officers are still inside. Perhaps they are dead by now. Gang Yu asks who launched this EMP strike, but Se Yun doesn't know, as they are still looking into it. She apologizes for coming to his brother's funeral and daring to ask something of him, But can he suppress the riot at the prison? Gang Yu instantly agrees, but he has one little condition he wants met. His old teammates always told him that heroes save others, not kill them, and his brother, who was a correctional officer, said that people can only be sentenced by law and nobody else. The people who carry out these duties are the executioners, so he will not go inside this hell as a hero. He will enter the prison as what the prisoner fears most, the executioner. He introduces himself as their new corrections officer, but these guys know who he is. Why is a hero like him wearing that uniform? However, it doesn't really matter, as he will die just the same. The moment these prisoners charge him, he punches a tire-sized hole in the first one and sends the others flying as they are mangled by the air of the attack. He pulls up the microphone he has inside his suit and says that under the order of the government, everyone from the ground floor to all of the floors, including the 5th basement floor, shall be executed immediately. The prisoners are naturally mad that they are being executed, as they feel like they don't deserve it. Gang Yu says that they already took countless lives. Why are they getting so upset when their time comes? They all try to defend themselves. One named Kalita screams that he didn't kill that many. He murdered 12 people. Another named Brooks dismembered 7 people, just because he felt like doing. Another one, who goes by Keed, has done heinous things against the young population of this country. They all scream and demand a lawyer, but one of them named Guwan Choi, who killed 8 people, notices that this new guard is being distracted by the others, so he can swiftly get out with his ability. He tries to do just that, but the moment Gang Yu senses him, he literally kicks his head off, making the others fall silent. He will give him a simple choice. They either put their suppression devices back on and return to their cells and wait for their execution, or they can die right now, by his hands. One of them tells him to stop talking nonsense. The latter is the much better choice. They are going to die anyway. Might as well fight while doing it right. The terms of his negotiation make 0 sense. What kind of guard is he anyway? Gang Yu notes that he's misunderstanding something. This ain't no negotiation. This is the last chance for mercy that he is graciously offering them. The others begin talking, with the common consensus being that they should surrender. But that's when the guy who spoke earlier screams at everyone to listen with his power, which certainly does make them listen. Hero or not, there's just one of him. He cannot hope to deal with all of them at once. In fact, he managed to kill a second-tier hero before, and teamwork was the secret to success. This gives the prisoners newfound confidence, and the man rallies them behind him. They should not feel intimidated by this bastard. They shall quickly deal with him and go out into the world once again. Gang Yu looks at this instigator and thinks that he must be the one that the warden told him about. At her office, Se-yoon explained that the prisoners of Ruculus are grouped by their threat level. The ground floor holds over 300 killers, who have killed several people. The first basement floor holds about 100 or so criminals that put entire towns in danger. The second floor holds about 30 criminals, who put entire cities in danger. The third floor has 10 people that can make entire nations fall. The fourth basement floor holds only 5 people, which is a threat to the continent. And the fifth basement floor holds Huang and 2 others, who are dangerous to the entire world. She knows that this is a lot to ask, but fortunately, he will have to only face a number of them. Because these prisoners, at the end of the day, are still criminals. Whether on the 2nd or 5th floor, they will certainly start killing each other, out of boredom or out of pure enjoyment. The only place where this is different is on the ground floor, as all of the prisoners in that place are united under one man, Hylason. He has a special superpower that can empower others around him. Gang Yu says that he attacked a hospital with 30 criminals to kill 7 people, and a second-tier hero named Hayes, for a total of 8 people. Hylason says that he's wrong. It was actually 10 people, since the hero woman was pregnant with twins. Hearing this, Gang Yu calls the warden and says that he may use a little force, so he wonders if this prison is sturdy enough. Se-yoon gives him the go-ahead, as it won't break no matter what. With this, Gang Yu knows to not hold back any punches, but Hylason believes that he's just bluffing, as he barely did a thing in that hero group he was in. Equality. He probably captured Huang by sacrificing everyone and getting the final blow. He shouldn't worry, however, as he will have a chance to apologize to them, since he will be sending him to them right now. He uses his ability to strengthen everyone around him, to the point that the surge of power rises to their heads, and they all charge Gang Yu at once. In an instant, with a single blow, he takes out the majority. Hylason's face drops as he sees this, but Gang Yu is not done yet, as he pummels the ground so hard it sends everyone flying, and even makes the entire prison tremble. On the first basement floor, a man notices this rumbling, and wonders if that really is Gang Yu. Hylason screams at the top of his lungs, and tells the others to stop the approaching Gang Yu, but try as they might, he is unstoppable, and dashes through everyone with blinding speeds, cutting them in half before they can even realize it. They all fall to the ground like hail, and Gang Yu confirms that the ground floor has been completely executed. The next target will be the solitary confinement cell. As he does that, he wonders how many he killed already. Hundreds, perhaps. Each time he meets prisoners, he gives them the same warning: put the devices back on, or die. One of the last dudes that tried to attack him had his head blown off like the others, while his buddy immediately surrendered and wanted to put the device back on. However, this was just a ruse, so he can surprise attack Gang Yu with a large explosion. He was ecstatic to land the hit, but Gang Yu wasn't even scraped by this weakling. Yet it reminded him of something. What a captured villain said to Tomai when she captured her. She pities the fool that has no physical type ability, as they cannot feel the ecstasy of crushing a person with their hands. Gang Yu did not feel any emotion from doing such brutal acts. It's like he's crushing eggs with his fists. Too easy. He eventually makes it to a large holding cell, where the man inside notes that he knew it was him who made all of this commotion. But how long has it been? About 3 years, right? This is Chuck Fielder, arrested and sentenced to die because of numerous accounts of cannibalism and desecration of corpses in general. He is glad to see that he found himself a new job, but he doesn't look that happy with it. Gang Yu gives his warning, but Chuck just says that he knew in his soul that they were going to meet again. He even remembers the first time they captured him. Does he remember when he saw the pot of delicious stew he prepared? And he urged him to take a bite, as he's not going to have something more succulent than human flesh. He can guarantee it. He was so mad that he tried to kill him, but that blonde gal he was with stopped him. He knew at the time that he was very mad at her decision. He thought that his teammates were a bunch of fools, right? Gang Yu has had enough of his yapping, and presumes that he chooses to die now. Chuck asks if he knows why he kills people, but Gang Yu couldn't care less, and cuts his head off. Even so, Chuck still speaks, and explains that he does it so that they remember him. Whenever he kills someone, he becomes the only person they ever think of at that moment. He can use his power to engrave the memory of his victims in their eyes, so that they will never forget him, even if they die. This is his superpower, hallucination. To prove his point, he says that he remembers every person he has killed, and will name them one by one. As soon as he tries to do that though, Gang Yu cuts his hand off, and says that this is why he was in solitary. He was actually aiming for that ugly mug of his, but it appears that his power isn't as omnipotent as he believes it is. Chuck just laughs, and wishes to ask something before he dies. Does he remember the people he killed on the way to this place? Gang Yu says that he doesn't, since they are all worthless scum not worth remembering. With this in mind, Chuck uses his ability to make all of Gang Yu's dead teammates appear, as he truly wants to make him remember their meeting. Even after seeing them, Gang Yu cuts through his old friends like butter, and asks if that is everything he's got. Chuck can't believe how instantly he attacked his own people, but he does not see it that way. They are just hallucinations that mean nothing. Besides, he is no longer one of them. He is a corrections officer. In his last moments, Chuck says that he is not a guard. He is more akin to a monster, not much different than Huang is. Even if he wouldn't admit it, this will certainly stick with Gang Yu. On the 5th basement level, Huang is extremely bored, as the woman he tried to kill won't fight back, and he can't touch her either. Since it has come to this, maybe he should just go up instead of waiting around here. On an unknown basement floor, a man asks one Miss Sinka when they are going to intervene, but she is more focused on Gang Yu, and exclaims that he will become her husband, no matter what. The guy next to her named Canis notes that earlier, she said that Huang is going to be her husband. The girl, Gato, says that he's right. Didn't they fire the EMP strike to save Huang in the first place? Canis also says that the guy is a hero, so he's an obstacle for the progress of mankind. Sinka explains that he was a hero. He does not seem like one now, that's for sure. The two urge her to choose, as polygamy is illegal. She doesn't know who to choose, as they both have nice traits. But since it has come to this, the one who survives will become her man. Eventually, Se-Yoon appears in the prison and congratulates Gang Yu for swiftly taking care of the ground floor. The prisoners will get more powerful the more he descends, so she suggests getting some rest, but he refuses, as he will head down right now. She understands, but has a favor to ask while he is still down there. They are still getting signals from some surviving correctional officers on the lower floors, so if he can, he should save them, so that they may return to their families. He asks how many officers are alive, but they do not know, as the communication devices are all banged up, except on the 5th floor. It's as if someone wants them to see the atrocities committed there, no matter how gruesome they may be. The team confirms that they are ready to open the 1st basement floor, and the warden also authorized the procedure. Her last words to Gang Yu are that of warning, as he should be careful, since the prisoners will certainly be stronger than before. The instant the heavy metal doors open, Gang Yu is struck from 2 sides by 2 buff criminals, while the others spam ranged attacks to make sure that they finish him off. Se-Yoon becomes startled and worried for Gang Yu, but someone comes from below and says that she should worry about her own problems, as she will have plenty soon enough. He cannot believe that he actually caught the warden. Now he can wipe that smug grin on her face. He calls the others to brag about his catch, but they are all dead, and he is soon met with the same fate. Gang Yu warns the warden to not stay so close to an open door. It's not safe for her anymore. Before he leaves, she tells him one final thing, that Tomoki, the villain that Tomai captured, is on the level he's going to, but Gang Yu already knew. In a certain insulation cell on the 1st basement floor, the others hear the commotion and wonder if the others managed to get out, but Tomoki calls them a bunch of dumbasses. They didn't, as nobody can make that much noise with their attacks. Even if she told them to stay, they wouldn't listen. She has been sentenced to death because she killed 28 heroes, and an ex-hero, who is now mocking the others for ending up as villains. One of them gets mad at her and asks if she wants to die. Tomoki just laughs in his face. As they are all here for killing civilians, they have probably never even damaged heroes with abilities, and he dares to say that he can fight with her? Is he that dumb? The man has had enough and says that he will kill one himself right now to see how it feels. But Tomoki doesn't even let him transform fully, as she instantly cuts him in half and asks if he got what he wanted out of this. She captured countless villains as a hero and learned how to fight against people who have these superpowers. She used that to kill a bunch of heroes too, so they should all join forces with her, as she can guide them on how to hunt these heroes like dogs. And as a bonus for joining, she will tell them about Gong Yu's abilities. The others who don't wish to challenge her ask how she knows of Gong Yu's abilities, but she notes once again that she was a hero once too, so she knows many things about most of the heroes. One of them wonders if that will even make a difference, as he was a part of equality before, which means that he is a first-tier hero, unlike she is. She's third-tier at best. Tomoki just laughs and explains that after Ryosa became leader of that group, she started to reform the entire hero industry. The first thing she did was refining what it meant to be a hero, and banned everyone from killing villains, no matter what. She also initiated a training program that made multiple heroes train at once. And lastly, but most importantly, she completely abolished the tiering system, which ranked heroes before. They may wonder why she's telling them all of this history, but the tier system was taken down before Gang Yu joined the team. Nobody saw him joining that group, because he didn't have many achievements to speak of, so naturally rumors started flowing. Some said that he had powerful connections, and others presumed that Ryosa is his lover. The man agrees that something's strange, as he has never seen Gang Yu fight, but he did wipe out the ground floor in a matter of seconds, meaning that he's at least a second-tier hero. They cannot fight someone like that, right? Tomoki tells him to stop being such a scaredy cat. The ground floor was full of weak bastards. Even everyone in this room, with their thousands of people killed, could have taken them out, including Speech, who has murdered 6,435 people. She isn't calling Ganyu weak, far from it, but she knows what his weakness is, which is why she thinks that they can hunt him down easily. Speech asks if she's sure that what she knows is really his weakness. Tomoki tells them to stop being so indecisive, as they don't have much of a choice anyway. Either they join her, or meet him alone. Seeing the situation, most of them decide to join her, and Speech also agrees, although he's quite reluctant. Superpowers were first discovered in humans several centuries ago, and over the years, researchers took it upon themselves to study this phenomenon and grouped abilities into 3 categories as a result. The first are physical-type superpowers, which strengthen or modify the user's body. The second is creation-type superpowers, the ability to create materialistic things out of thin air. And third are the special-type superpowers, all other powers who do not fall in the first and second abilities. All of the prisoners stand in front of their cells, while Gang Yu arrives, and Speech uses his brainwave communication ability to connect everyone to the same waves, allowing them to see Gang Yu from everywhere. And Tomoki thinks that he has physical-type superpowers, just like she does. She thinks that she knows of his weakness because she saw him train once when she was still a hero. He was against a robot, who immediately went to blast him. Gang Yu once again tells them to put their devices on or die, but that's when a blast hits him, which he doesn't even try to dodge. This is his weakness. He refuses to dodge any attack. That is why Tomoki cleverly placed prisoners with creation and special-type abilities behind the cells to blast attacks on him. She also knew why he refused to dodge the attacks, because he simply did not need to. But this is precisely why she added something to that barrage of attacks, as Gang Yu is suddenly coiled by countless suppression devices. Before this whole thing happened, she sent everyone to search the bodies of the guards and find the suppression devices. But Speech wondered if they would work on him, since these are only the first basement floor level. She said that it's fine. They just need a bunch of them to suppress him, 10 if he's a second tier, and 15 if he's a first tier, even though that is unlikely. She ordered Million, who can make any item lock on any target, to hold them and prepare to strike him. But just because she wants to be safe, they should put 30 devices on him. That will do the job. The others start to celebrate, but soon, their faces crumble into frowns, as the flaws in Tomoki's plan start to become visible. The first flaw was that Gang Yu is far more powerful than any first-tier hero. Speech confirms that he broke all the suppression devices, which confuses Tomoki, but the others scream at her to tell them about the next phase. Do they start it? She tells everyone to begin the second phase, which is to hold a few guards at power point and warn him to not get closer, as these innocent guys will die. When they are done talking, the second flaw in Tomoki's plan appears. She thought that Gang Yu only had a physical ability. The others die in pain and anguish, because they were not told he had these kinds of abilities. As the others come out of their cells and try to surrender, the third and biggest flaw in her plan appears. She thought that she could win against somebody who outclasses her in every aspect. Eventually, Speech has nobody to connect to with his ability, and starts screaming at Tomoki. Everyone was wiped out. What the fuck are they going to do now? He continues to scream at her while she wonders what to do, asking her to say something at least. But this was his fault in the first place. He shouldn't have trusted someone who used to be a hero. Tomoki has had enough of his constant screaming, and stabs him out of rage, multiple times in fact, while screaming at him to shut the hell up. She still wonders how he got past those suppression devices. Does that mean he's just that strong? That's when she notices that a guard is in the room with her, and since she wants an outlet to let her rage out on, she chooses to maim him with her claw. But before she can, Gangyu cuts her hand off. He asks if she has any last words before her execution, but she just says that she's screwed. Gangyu asks if those are her last words, but she asks if it's true that all of the heroes in equality are dead. Gangyu confirms it, meaning that Tomai is dead too. She can't believe that she's gone. She told her not to become a hero, but her foolish little sister did not listen. She also can't understand why he's killing people when he's a part of equality. Do the other heroes know about his actions? Ryosa desperately tried to change the hero industry, but by doing this, he ruined everything she worked for. She's probably looking at him in shame now. Gangyu does not let out a sliver of emotion, and asks if she's done yapping. When Tomoki joined the hero industry, the first thing she thought was that something was seriously wrong with it. Back then, the simple fact that the heroes were fighting villains allowed them to kill the villains, but they were also granted immunity should civilians die in the process, meaning that heroes were above the law. She became a heroine named Bliss for one simple reason, because of her sister Tomi, who admired her a lot. Unlike Tomoki though, Tomai didn't have superpowers at the time, so she always got help from Tomoki. However, nothing twisted Tomoki or made her into the villain she is today, as she was twisted from the start. As a hero, she had the job of saving people, but she did not do it out of kindness, or to maintain peace. She did it because she felt superior above everyone. But one eventful day, she had to kill a villain on one of her rescue missions. It was the first time she killed someone, and it made her feel over the moon. It took her higher than any drug ever could, as she felt extremely superior and ecstatic. After this, she could not stop herself, and started killing everyone, be it villains, civilians, or heroes. In particular, her favorite prey was her colleagues who were weaker than her, as the looks they gave her after they lost, betrayal mixed with fear and terror, and the final cherry on top, them begging for their lives. She could not get enough of it, but soon, things would change. Tomai thought it was quite strange that Tomoki was always late, and she also sensed a heavy scent of blood around her, so she decided to follow her, and that's when she witnessed her sister's actions. Tomoki wasn't that surprised that she saw her. Instead, she invited her to join the fun, but if she does not, she will keep enjoying the fruits of murder. That is when she was chained up for the first time, and also when Tomai unlocked her powers, and stopping Tomoki was the whole purpose of her heroine career. After this, she officially registered as such and hunted her sister down as a villain, until one day she managed to catch her. Tomoki wasn't that sad though. She just told her that it's sad she doesn't have a physical type ability, as she will not enjoy the succulent feeling of crushing someone's head with her own two hands. How much ecstasy can be felt from it. At that moment, Tomai denounced Tomoki as her sister, and sent her to prison. She asks how she died. Did she go in peace at least? Gangyu tries to remember, and eventually does. She died in pain, while calling out for Tomoki to save her. She feels like she shouldn't have asked, but enough talking, it's time for them to settle the score. She immediately charges Gangyu, who was actually a clone of himself. The real Gangyu appears behind Tomoki, and smashes her with his leg before she can do anything. She does not give up, however, as she comes jumping out of the dust cloud that was made from her impact, but Gangyu just hits her in the gut, causing her to fully detransform. It saddens him that he has to kill a teammate's family, even if she is a death row inmate, but justice must be served. With those words in mind, Tomoki starts begging for her life, as he's a hero, who promised Ryosa not to kill no matter what. Gangyu says that he's no longer a hero, but she still begs, and begs. Gangyu tells her that she looks exactly like her victims, who asked her for mercy over and over, but she did not listen. Perhaps she did not even hear them. Thus ends Tomoki's life, the hero turned into a villain. The sound of Gangyu fighting causes tremors throughout the prison, and the sounds made one fall in love even more, made another fearful for her life, and gave a little someone something to look forward to. Huang has had enough of waiting and decides to go up and meet Gangyu sooner, but he is sent flying into the wall as soon as he says that, by none other than the third prisoner, Kingston. Huang notes that he's quite scary, but Kingston says that at his age, he can hardly be called that. He is also the first prisoner on the 5th basement floor, and the first prisoner ever. The warden is shortly informed that Kingston and Huang have met, which she was waiting for, as this means that one of them will certainly die. And personally, she's betting on Kingston to win, as he's not as threatening as Huang. But why is he keeping that woman in the air like that? Huang doesn't really want to play with an old man, but Kingston will certainly like to play with him. He is the first criminal to be locked up here, and he is also the longest-serving inmate, even if he's on death row. Unlike most inmates in the basement levels, who were imprisoned for killing millions, Kingston only killed 3 people. The first victim was Caracas, the most powerful villain of his time, and the 2 other victims were Clark and Yahello, the most powerful heroes of the time. He appeared out of nowhere and killed the 3 most powerful people in the entire world. Everyone said that they were invincible, and since he killed them, this makes him the strongest person in the world, right? Truly disappointing. After this, he let the government capture him. Even though he was the biggest threat the world has ever seen, he voluntarily went to prison. Since the government and Hero Association were not on good terms at the time, and even now he was able to defer execution for 30 whole years. He promises Huang not to kill him. All he wants is to play a little. That's all. Reluctantly, Huang agrees and pulls out some guards that he crushes into compact meatballs and throws them at Kingston, who uses hand movements to deflect the numerous balls and crush some under his might, creating rain of blood around the area. At first he thought that he was a user of telekinesis, but the way he attacks and defends tells him that he's different. Does he have anything else to show him? Huang says that he changed his mind. He isn't having any fun. What's the point of killing somebody who will die of old age? Kingston notes that he's quite arrogant, but he has seen numerous people like him who think that they are the biggest fish in their small pond. Most of the time, their egos get the best of them. The entire building shakes as Kingston steps forward, with one of the guards thinking that the building is falling, but the warden tells him that the prison has 20 layers of special wall that can withstand any power. It will never fall. Kingston feels that it's his duty to teach the younglings, so he will show him that he can be humble too. In that moment, he charges in with a flying kick that goes through the wall and everyone feels it. The warden gets up from the ground and asks who won the fight, but the guard notes that they have bigger problems, as that single attack destroyed the walls, meaning that they are very screwed. Huang is surprised to see that someone so old could do something like this, but that's when someone from behind asks why he would follow an old man anywhere. This mysterious figure is Sinka, who urges him to come and talk with her. Huang gets serious and asks who she is, but she will only say if he sits down and talks. The warden is extremely confused. How did that woman get to the 5th basement level? Sarika says that they will talk, but the spectators have to go. With that, she just closes the cameras, making the warden very mad. Gang Yu arrives at the 2nd basement floor gate, but when he tries to get confirmation to go in, the signal cuts out. So he decides to just pull the gates open and go inside this way. As he walked down the stairs to the 2nd basement floor, he did not feel the stench of blood, like on the other floors, something that was very strange. In fact, there was nobody there, not a single corpse, and it was clean too. That's when he notices someone running away from 2 beastly wolves that seem more like monsters than anything. The woman sees him too and thinks that he's Gang Ho, but she trips, allowing the beast to charge in. Naturally, Gang Yu kills them and asks if she's alright, but she just goes to hug him and says that he was supposed to be on the 5th basement floor. What is he doing here? And how did he get superpowers? Gang Yu grabs her and says that he is not Gang Ho, he is his brother. She knows about him, as he is a hero, but why is he wearing that uniform? And why is he here? Gang Yu notes that it's not safe here, so she should go up as everything is clear. She apologizes for acting like that, calling him brother-in-law. She knows that this sounds strange, since she has not introduced herself, so she will now. She is going to become his sister-in-law, and if she might add, they really look alike for brothers. In the isolation cell of this level, Miel tells Mael that there's an intruder in their midst, so he wonders how many sins he has committed in his life. Mael notes that he killed one of her innocent little puppies, so it becomes clear to Miel that he will be going to hell. The woman who goes by Jia Hong says that she has only seen him in videos and pictures, but he looks nicer in real life. Gang Yu notes that his brother told him about his girlfriend, but he didn't say anything about getting married yet. She notes that it was a rush job, as she found out that she was pregnant pretty recently, and that his niece or nephew is currently inside of her. Gang Yu is extremely shocked to hear this, and she says that it's hardly been a month. They only found out a few days out, and Gang Ho said that he will tell him after he is done with Huang. Gang Yu's face becomes ridden with sadness. He does not know if he has the strength to tell her. She asks why he's here in a uniform, and so he explains that he was commissioned to execute all of the prisoners in Ruculus, which she is surprised by. Did the warden make him do it or something? Gang Yu notices she doesn't know what happened, so he fills her in about the EMP strike, though they do not know who did it. She asks what happened to Gang Ho, as he was on the 5th basement floor. Gang Yu tries his best to tell her the truth, but given the circumstances, he chooses to lie, and says that he's still sending rescue signals. She is relieved to hear that, and Gang Yu tells her to go up, since it's not safe. She wants to stay, however, as she can make it easier for him to go down, since she has the ability to, psychometry, which allows her to go through people's memories. Naturally, she would never do that to him if there was no good reason for it, but she used it before to find out about the inmates, and if they were really guilty. Gang Yu asks how this ability will help him, so she explains that this entire floor is under the control of Miel and Mael, the inmates that were put in the isolation cell. They are siblings that have summoning special type superpowers. What they summon is a creature that stabs people in the heart. Then they use their ability to make puppets out of these victims, and currently, every single prisoner has become their puppet. Gang Yu already knew that, because they are Mago's disciples. He does not need any information, so she should go already. She refuses again, as some of the combatants' puppets the siblings control are correctional officers. He will not be able to distinguish between them since they are all puppets. But she can, as she can go through their memories. Gong Yu asks if they aren't dead already since they are puppets, but she promises that they are still alive. They will be themselves once they are released of the power. Gang Yu notes that they are dangerous criminals who will not listen to her, but this dumbass woman believes she can still persuade them. In a last-ditch effort, Gong Yu tells her to think about the baby, but even if she's expecting, she is still a corrections officer, and she must serve the country as such. This reminds Gang Yu of his brother, so he agrees, but he envelops her with his power to keep her from harm. She just hopes that this won't affect her body, as it feels weird. Eventually, they meet some soldiers, who were made by Meal, it seems. Hong tells him that most of the officers were captured by Meal. He's the older brother, so he should keep it in mind. Gang Yu asks which ones are the officers, and so she uses her ability and finds out that there's only 2 here, the ones in the back. She tries to give him advice on how to do it, but Gang Yu just envelops her in more power till she cannot see, as there is an easier way to spare the officers. He envelops them in his binds and starts killing the inmates, as this is what he was sent for. As he does this with ease, the siblings watch him from a crystal ball. Mael wonders if he's stronger than their master, but Meal doesn't know, making Mael ask if he's stronger than that woman. She goes next to him and says that she's scared, but Meal tells her to cast away her worries, as he will not be able to kill them easily. After he is done with the soldiers, he lets Hong see again, and she asks why he did something like that. He apologizes, as he should have told her in advance, but he did what he had to do as a correctional officer, execute the inmates. She wonders how he did something like that, since the execution devices are on sub-level 5, but he says that he did it with his own 2 hands, making her ask whose idea it was to do something like this. Gang Yu confirms that it was his, and Hong asks if the warden really agreed with this. He said that he did, which makes her frown and wonder what that hag was thinking. She also asks if he's okay with something like this, which he is, as he's a correctional officer. It's his duty after all. She doesn't agree with this notion, as correctional officers aren't here to kill prisoners. They are here to rehabilitate them. That's their duty. Gang Yu doesn't care about that notion, and doesn't need any more sermons about ideals, especially from her. Even if heroes are supposed to save people and not kill them, he knows all too well what happens when one pursues nothing but blind ideals. One day, they will be slaughtered by a monster who doesn't listen to reason, and if he's honest, he doesn't care if he's a hero or whatever the fuck. He should have done something like this a long time ago. Someone has to do it, and he is more than happy to. Hong tries to reason with him, saying that they are humans, but he wonders if she really is serious about this. Does she even know what she's talking about anymore? What makes her think that the people in here are humans? Each of them in sub-level 2 and below killed thousands. They all deserve death, be it swift or slow. In the past, he recognizes that there were talks of abolishing the death penalty because it was considered inhumane, but nobody has been wrongly convicted, ever. Since people with psychometric powers, they now know how many people were killed and why, so she should think about her role in all of this. In her delusion, she still feels that they have a story to tell, especially the 2 they are going to. However, Gang Yu tells her that everyone has a story, including their victims. Besides, it makes no difference. They will end up dead anyway, whether they die by his hands or execution. She feels that it's wrong for a single individual to decide that and do it. Gang Yu doesn't care anymore, and tells her to shut it. If she keeps saying stuff like that, she will be sent upstairs by force, and he will handle the situation how he knows best. With that, she shuts up, and eventually they get to an area with some dark soldiers. He asks how many officers are there, and Hong tells him that the 3 in the back are 3 in the back. Before he charges in, she says that Gang Ho will be quite sad when he finds out what he did. This pushes Gang Yu over the limit, and he doesn't even try to dodge the incoming attack, as he is filled with rage. All of this fucking idealistic talk, it brings him bitter rage. Talk and some more talk, like they know what it takes to do something like this. Even in this state, Gang Yu managed to calm down by killing the 5 prisoners. Sinka watches him and says that he keeps getting more awesome the more he descends. Gang Yu and Hong continue to walk until they meet another group, and when Hong tells him where the soldiers are, he tries to swiftly get to it. But that's when Meal and Mael come out, welcoming him inside. He is quite glad that he saved the trouble of searching for them. They ask Hong why she didn't come with them, as she would have gone to heaven. But Gang Yu tells them to release the mind control they have on the people. He promises them a swift death if they do that. Meal asks if he can just not kill them, but he explains that the prisoners on the ground floor and first sub-level were given a choice, to die or put their devices back on. But everyone on sub-level 2 and below has killed thousands without even thinking. They deserve death. Meal notes that he heard he used to work with their master and the woman who captured them, but he is much different than the 2. Mael says that he will surely go to hell, but Gang Yu wonders who will end up there first between them. Meal says that if he promises to let them go, they will release their people, but Gang Yu instantly denies it. Hong tells them to not make things any worse and put the devices back on quickly, but Meal believes that they did nothing to deserve the death penalty. She must know that, right? That is why they refuse. Gang Yu tells her that beasts cannot be persuaded, no matter how much she tries. But there are ways for them to understand, especially pain. Oh, do they understand pain? Meal notes that he doesn't wish to fight him. He should hear their story, as then he will certainly negotiate. Gang Yu denies this, and engulfs Hong in his power, as he has had enough of her idealistic yapping. He also grabs the siblings, and says that once, a villain told him how to accurately torture people, to think that it would come in handy today. Meal says that he cannot be reasoned with. He is the beast in this matter. But Mael notes that he's much more. He's a monster. They suddenly switch places with some prisoners, telling Gang Yu that they have special type powers. Pretty annoying, but he also wonders why these beasts are calling him a monster all of a sudden. As he kills the soldiers that approach him, he says that it's quite disturbing. Mael watches this from a glass ball, while Meal desperately tries to cut down the wall next to them. She promises to slow him down however much she can. With that, she summons a large circle that makes tons of demonic-looking beasts come out right in front of Gang Yu. He is glad that for once he has to fight something which isn't human, and swiftly goes through them like Swiss cheese. Mael knows that he's approaching fast and asks Meal how long it's going to take, but he will need 10 more minutes to finish, which makes her bite her finger and attempt to summon something. But in that moment, Gang Yu smashes through the door. After all, he gave it some thought and realized the rest will stop once he captures them. There is no point in fighting, so this is their last chance. Either they release the prisoners and receive a swift death, or they will die under brutal torture. He asks them once again to release their power, but instead Meal summons a fake imitation of holy angels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and even Uriel. They do not live long, however, as Gang Yu instantly cuts them down, which makes Meal pick up some officers and demand he stay back. Or does he want to also hurt the prisoners? Gang Yu notes that if he does not let them go, his sister will suffer a terrible fate. He puts pressure on her, making her scream out in pain, and as her little bones crunch, Meal relents and says that he will withdraw his powers, but he must speak with Hong first. Gang Yu demands he releases his powers first. He will not stop until he does. With that, he does, and everyone captured by the power is now free, including the prisoners, who are instantly cut in half. The officer wonders what happened, but he tells them to go upstairs already. Meal asks to keep his end of the deal, which Gang Yu agrees to, but they will go somewhere else for it, as he doesn't want to make a pregnant woman see something like this. She is eventually allowed to see again, and Gang Yu says that it's over now. The people were released from the grip of the ability, and there are 2 criminals who wanted to talk with her before their execution. She asks to put suppression devices on them and leave it at that, but Gang Yu will not repeat himself anymore. These fuckers killed thousands, and he will finish them off even if he kills him. Meal notes that they did nothing to deserve the death penalty, so he asks her to say something. Hong really tried to say something, but what they did, she could not defend them against, meaning that Gang Yu was right, and since he kept his promise, it's time for them to die. Mael starts to go into shock while screaming, but it won't save her from the vengeful hand of justice. However, Mago will, as he casts a protective barrier over them, wonder what is going on around here. Gang Yu wonders if this is the ability of the twins, but he knows that no criminal can cast a defensive barrier like this. So Mago used that ability. But why? Why cast this type of magic on criminals? It doesn't really matter though, as nothing will stop him from executing these murderers. As he breaks the barrier, however, Mago puts another in front of him, and another after he breaks that one. Gang Yu continued to destroy the barriers, but he kept feeling uneasiness throughout. He remembers when they were all at a park and Mago was greeting some kids. One of them wonders why he's not tired at all, while the other notes that it's great. The first one told Tomai that they will definitely have children when they get married, but she said that she doesn't date old-timers. Mago invited them to come down, which they did, but Gang Yu sat next to them under the shade of a tree, until Mago appeared and asked if he doesn't like children. Gang Yu noted that it's not that, he just doesn't know how to interact with them. Mago told him that he can do what his parents did, but Gang Yu told him that his parents died after he was born. The only family he has is his older brother. Mago knows he kind of fucked up by brining it up, so he apologizes, and after a short moment of awkward silence, he notes that he can do it with him. Act like a child, that is. Naturally, he was kidding, but it wasn't entirely a joke. As if things get tough for him, he can always come to him and talk about it. This also brings him to the darkest pits of his mind, where his teammates all died, and he was the only one standing. In his final moments, Mago told him that it's all right, and tried to comfort him, something that stuck with him, and when only one barrier was left, Gang Yu stopped. He drags Hong out of her buble and asks if she can read the memories of abilities, which she confirms. So Gang Yu tells her to do this, and read the memories of that thing. When she does, she pulls out a memory of Mago, which Gang Yu finds is unpleasant. But why are the memories of those 2 murderers next to him? She says that, because this ability was cast on them, he didn't display them on purpose. Gang Yu notes that this doesn't mean he wants to spare them. He will kill them, no matter what happens. With that in mind, Hong lets him see their memories. He sees an auction, filled with the scent of despair and greed. Meal and Mael were also there, when they were 6 years old, and sold as slaves. The ability user auction is an underworld occasion below a fallen city that was open solely for VIPs that like to collect rare abilities as a mere hobby. Meal and Mael were both sold by their father at these auctions. Among the countless popular abilities that are bought, The special types are the most sought after, as are those who have the physical type and transform their bodies. The summoning type is one of the most common among ability users, so they were both quite cheap, though that was just a ruse. They never revealed their special type abilities, making them stay locked up in a dark cell for a long time. Just as they were preparing to get written off as unsold goods, a woman came up with the proposition to buy them because she was very curious about their abilities. The auctioneer asks if there's another reason for buying these two, as they are kind of useless. He was only asking because there is no way to refund her purchase afterwards. The woman explained that she was curious about something, more specifically what would happen if an angel mixed with a demon. Mael and Meal didn't understand her, which the woman didn't expect them to, but they will soon find out. Suddenly, an explosion large enough to encapsulate the entire area covered them, though they were only safe because of a familiar green spell cast on them. Naturally, the siblings were also safe, and Mago was the one who did all of this. Lipus, Mago's assistant who had no reason to dress like that, asks what he's even trying to teach her here. To blow people up? Mago laughed and said that if she worked hard, she would be able to one day do the same, and she shouldn't forget that imagination is the most important thing in a summoning type. He also asked if she finished the task he handed over to her, which she confirmed. All of the people who participated in the auction were taken away, and the ones captured were freed. Mago suggested they go for another class, which Lipus didn't like, as she doesn't really believe summoning meteors is really that informative. That's when Meal grabbed their attention and asked if they could come too. He also explained that they are summoning types, just like he is. Lupus told them that Mago promised to have only one apprentice, but he doesn't remember saying that in the past, so he asked to see their abilities. Miel and Mael did as they were told, and summoned an angel and a demon respectively. Lupus thought they were strange, as kids with summoning abilities like to spawn toys and su. Mago became interested in them, so he decided to take them under his wing. For 3 years, Mago taught the siblings how to use their summoning abilities efficiently. He explained that imagination is the key to a powerful summoning ability. The image that they have in their mind would naturally appear via their ability. It seemed like Meal summons angels because he was influenced by his caring mother, who has protected everyone ever since they were young, and Mael summons demons because she remembers their abusive father, who would get angry at anything. If they are able to broaden their perspective on the world, they will be able to summon even more things, though it's fine to be interested in only one thing too. He gave Lipus as an example, who only cared about meteors. Mago asked what direction they wanted to go, and Mael said that they were interested in heaven and hell. Their mother told them something before she passed away. Kind people go to heaven, and evil people go to hell. Those words are what they have been holding on to even in the darkest times. They both want to make this world right, into one where kind people get what they deserve and go to heaven, and sinners rot in hell. Mago just patted their heads and noted that if it's them, he is sure that they would be able to do anything they imagine. One eventful day, Lipus came with some bad news. The Hero Association requested his aid, which he didn't even care to hear, as they ignored his request earlier. That's when Lipus said that a Swede appeared in Finland, which shocked him, and he said that they must gather all members of Equality, though they couldn't find them. With nothing else left to do, he wanted to see Meal and Mael one final time. He told them that he was leaving, with Mael taking it the worst, but Meal wondered when he would come back. Mago, with a sad expression, told them that it would be a few years, since their opponent is very tough and dangerous. Mael asked if they could go with him, but Mago refused, as the opponent was far too vile to even consider something like this. Mael began to break down, as she didn't want him to go, and she didn't want to be thrown away again. Lipus told them that they would never be thrown away since they are not objects, but to ease their pain, Mago gave them one last gift. He summoned the clothes they are wearing even now, and said that with these, he will always be with them, no matter what. He advised them to go to a shelter and have people help them, as they would surely meet again someday. Some people may put the blame on Mago for what happened next, as Miel and Maele didn't go to a shelter out of fear of people, instead choosing to isolate themselves in a remote mountain and strengthen their abilities. In that remote place, where they only had each other, they wondered what kind of abilities they would have so that they could grow up kind until they met Mago again. What is good and what is evil? Most importantly, they pondered what they should do with their God-given abilities. 2 years later, they finally decided on what was good and evil without anyone else's involvement. With that, they went back to their hometown and kept the same ideology. Good people will see heaven, and bad people will suffer in hell. They started to create their own system of heaven and hell, judging people based on menial things. They are the rightful targets of execution after all. Within a month, they turned the whole town into their own place. They did this by summoning angels and demons who monitored the people of this town for a straight month and categorized them into 2 groups, heaven and hell. The standards that they had gone for were what their mother told them not to do when they were young: to not steal, not throw rubbish anywhere, to be quiet in places, not lie, not bicker, and so on. They were too young, and those ideals were too simple and childlike for any person. That is why they were scary, because in their eyes, they were not doing anything wrong, and they either liberated or damned people as they saw fit. Those who they deemed fit for heaven were made to dream a happy dream forever, even though it was a complete lie. News of what happened eventually reached the people of the Hero Association, and Utariti, the chairman of the association, was at the forefront of a meeting about them. There were only 4 people present at this meeting, including him. Tisu Banjo, a third-tier hero, said that everyone is probably on holiday, and Husta, another third-tier hero, wanted to get this over with, as he wants to see if he can find more interesting cases. After searching for a while, Husta only found level B1 cases. Nobody would pay attention to these at all. Banjo was also sad, as she wanted to increase her tier, but she has to deal with B2 cases for that. Utariti said that there's a B3 if she wants it, but she said that doing something difficult isn't efficient. But she also wondered why this village takeover case was appearing here at all. Utariti explained that the children are categorized as B1 villains, so he decided to put them in. Husta asked how old they are, and he said about 10 years old, give or take. Husta was shocked. They aren't even teenagers, yet they occupied an entire village? Bajo thought that if they are like this now, they will probably end up being B2 or B3 villains. Husta suggested they take them in and raise them, but Utariti noted they don't have the resources for it, and it would take too long. Additionally, they are already apprentices of Mago, or at least they were. Bancho told them that if Mago raised them, it was his problem, but Husta informed her that he was in Finland dealing with Aswid. That's when the third member perked up and asked if she could go. This is Chitu, a third-tier hero, and a summoner at that. When she finally got to the town, she saw quite a sight while on a road nearby, as countless people were floating in the air. Mael and Meal instantly got their eyes on her, but she just started taking pictures with the various soldiers, while wondering what kind of ability this is, as these guys don't look all that dead. Suddenly the siblings appeared before her, and asked why she had come here. Chitu was pleasantly surprised to see that they are in the special category, as she always wants to see all of their abilities, and asked if they had any more. Miel wanted his question answered, but instead Chitu wondered if Mago knew that they were a special category. From what she knew, he only took in summoners as apprentices. That's when she realized that they didn't tell him at all, and Miel asked who she was. She removed her mask and said that she was their senior, Chitu. Miel noted that Mago never told them about her, which she was expecting. They never agreed eye to eye, so to speak. She was always interested in sharp things. Mago adamantly suggested that she should train her defense magic along with her offensive one, but defense isn't her thing, so she refused to listen. After that decision, slowly but surely, he stopped looking in her direction. He is way too mean. She started to cry out and scream about how mean he is again and again, making Mael scared of her. Even when he told her how talented she was, he did it with a smile, yet he completely erased her from his mind. Miel threatened her with magic and told her to go away, but instead, Chitu summoned countless blades and started to impale everyone in her way, including civilians. Surely if she does something like this, Mago will remember her. Mago turning out to be the villain of this series. Good lord. Chitu laughed like a maniac while slashing countless innocent people and felt a sense of euphoria like never before. The two siblings checked on each other and wondered what to do next. Chitu skipped around the bodies she laid on the ground and said that this was much more fun than she could imagine, though now she wanted more. As she threw one of her blades at another person, however, the siblings appeared and protected them, which made Chitu happy, as they really got their defensive magic down. A guard tried to attack from behind, but she was too swift and told the siblings that they needed to work on their attacks. Mael said that she will definitely end up in hell, which made Chitu sad, as he is their senior, so she feels that some respect is in order. If she is honest though, she always wanted to use her ability on a bunch of people at once, but if she did that normally, she would end up in jail quite fast, even if she is a hero. However, they both presented her with a golden opportunity and fulfilled her lifelong wish. With all of this, she felt that she could do it. She could finally summon what she always wanted. She started to scream out loud as she used all of her power, and eventually summoned a razor blade, even though she was bleeding from her face. The power of imagination is the most vital thing for a summoner, and since Chitu felt an experience like never before from killing countless people, her imagination sparked up and strengthened her ability. She was amazed at herself, as she never expected to be able to summon such a large thing, and thanked the siblings from the bottom of her heart. Though now, it was time for them to die. That's when a large demon ate her whole, as she was not the only one who felt an overwhelming emotion. Mael saw Chitu as a real demon, and her ability was thus strengthened. She turned to Meal and wondered if she really killed a person. In response, he hugged her tightly, and said that what she slayed was not human, never was. 1 year later, the siblings expanded their influence over a larger area, and with this, they both rose to be B2 villains of Ruculus prison. Mago was shocked when he saw them in the database, with Utoriti knowing that they were his apprentices, so he wanted to show him at least. Magu got up to go, but Utoriti refused to allow him. This case will be assigned to someone else. Magu asked why he would do that, and Utoriti said it was quite simple. He humbly requested that he kill Aswid when he finally got him, but instead he chose to hand him over to the government, so there is no reason for him to let him do what he wants anymore. Mago didn't take no for an answer, and said that he would go no matter what. Utoriti slammed the table and said that he will not and cannot go. He commands him. Mago told him to shut it, as he was always obsessed with authority. That's when someone volunteered to go, that someone being Raosa. Utoriti didn't mind it, as this is a perfect promotion mission for her. Mago still held his own, but Raosa approached him and asked this defeated man to trust her, at least once. Inside the cleansed city, the siblings instantly knew that an intruder had appeared, and Mael wondered just how many sins she had committed in her lifetime. As Raosa walked into the city, she saw the other heroes who tried to intercept the siblings, who seemed to be alive at the least. That's when the siblings changed positions with them, and Miel asked what an outsider was doing here, and for what purpose she had come here. Raosa introduced herself as a hero, and said that she wanted to bring them back, which immediately made Mael summon a bunch of demons, and tell Raosa to go back, as if she does not, she will end up in hell. Raosa agreed to go back, but she wanted them to come with her so that they could go back together. The siblings tried their best against her, but they couldn't hope to stand against her might. She told them that they are kind children, as she doesn't feel any killing intent from their attacks, which saddened her even more. If the heroes that came for them before were actually good people, the situation wouldn't have escalated so much. It's also strange that even though they think they are doing the right thing, people are getting in their way again and again. The siblings were afraid as she approached, but she promised not to hurt them. However, what they were doing wasn't right, and their old teacher is very sad because of it. Miel didn't believe her at first, as Mago would have come for them by now, but Raosa swore she was not lying, and urged them to release their abilities and come back, as they would all go back to their teacher. At that moment, both Miel and Maele felt a motherly warmth for her, and so they went. When they finally met up with Mago, Miel told him everything, about how they were actually special types. They only kept it hidden because their mother told them to. They knew that he only took summoners in as apprentices, so they apologized for lying. Mago was shocked, and asked who told them such a thing. They explained it was Chitu, a hero who was her apprentice before. Mago told them that he never took her in as an apprentice. He only met her once, and gave her a single piece of advice, nothing more. Being reunited after 3 long years, they all shared what happened over those years, with the siblings sharing how they worked to grow into better people, and about how other people didn't understand them at all. To this day, Miel and Mael still don't get why people were so mean to them. Raosa asked if he was finished with them, but Mago asked if she could entrust the both of them to him. Even though they did not kill anyone, they still had thousands of hostages, and even killed a hero, so the death penalty would be hard to avoid. They are young children, who strayed on the wrong path due to their being alone. He would take full responsibility for their actions until now. Raosa couldn't do something like that, as even if she didn't agree with Utoriti's law, to execute non-adults if they commit crimes. The law is the law. Additionally, the job of a hero isn't rehabilitation, but when she met these two, she felt what he felt. There are many issues with the current world, so she asked Mago to work with her from now on, as she swore to change the world no matter what happens. Mago became mesmerized with the will in Raosa's eyes, and had a condition for this. These kids shouldn't die until they are adults, so he would like to use his ability on them one last time. Raosa agreed, and so Mago cast his most powerful protection spell on them. This is why they were protected against Gangyu's attacks, who now remembers one of the first times he met Raosa, and she said the exact same thing to him. As he gets up, Miel notes that they simply judged people based on their rule. Isn't the law the same? Rules made by people? What is the difference between them if that's the case? Hong also tries to convince Gangyu that they can rehabilitate these two, but Gangyu shuts her up by putting her in the bubble, and slowly walks in while charging up his fist with power. Miel tries to reason with him, saying that they are wrong, and that they won't do it again, but when Gangyu shows no sign of stopping, they can only cry out for their mother and their teacher, who has done all that he could for them. The entire prison rumbles as the attack lands, but it goes into the ground, as Gangyu doesn't know what to do. 1,000 thoughts rush through his head all at once. Fortunately for him, he didn't have to think for long, as Sinka comes from behind and cuts them into tiny little pieces as she enters the room through a portal. She tells Gangyu that he doesn't have to make such a sad face. Thinking so much does not suit him at all. Now that she sees him, he is much more handsome in person. She really made the right decision in picking him as her husband. Before Sinka can say anything else, Gangyu goes for a punch, which is stopped by Canis, who is mad that he isn't listening quietly like he's supposed to. Sinka tells him that he shouldn't be rude, as that person will become his new master soon. Canis apologizes for his mistake, and Sinka tries to introduce herself once again, but Gangyu starts attacking her once again, forcing her to make a barrier. He is quite the impatient one, but since they will be seeing each other for a while, they should chat a little. As he heard, her name is Sinka, and she will be the woman who will become the new Eve of mankind. Gangyu wonders what she's even talking about, but if he's honest, he's just tired at this point. A crazy bastard just appeared right in front of him, and he doesn't know what to do. Sinka notes that she's probably the sanest person on the whole planet, which the others agree with. She notes that mankind is in a precarious situation right now, as it's slowly degenerating as they speak. If they keep going like this, they will eventually go extinct. Gangyu asks what she's saying, but she responds with a question. What does he think is the biggest threat to humanity right now? He belonged to equality in the past, so he probably thinks that it would be the villains or the heroes of the past that held absolute authority over anything. However, both of these are wrong. What is eating away at the belly of mankind is those without any ability, who live normal lives. Their genes must be culled. Only people who possess superior genes should be birthing new generations. But due to the sacrifice given by those with the superior genes, the genes that were supposed to be culled have multiplied tenfold, like rats in a sewer. For example, the second generation equality heroes led by Ryosa. They possess incredible abilities, yet why did they die? Even though the logic of nature stated otherwise. It's natural for those who are not selected by evolution to disappear, but they tried to stop that. If he was wondering, he's safe from all of this, as he is no longer a hero. Right now he's probably enjoying killing off weaker people, right? She fell in deep love when she saw him in action. He should know though, this person is a gathering spot for superior humans that will become the new mankind, that were unfairly imprisoned for culling the weak. After they get rid of these so-called heroes that want to stop them, and every inferior human together, they will build a world where only the strong exist, the alpha world. She's generous too, as if the heroes change their minds and join them, they will allow them to live. They aren't that strict. Gangyu notes that he doesn't try to kill anyone who's a criminal, but it seems like killing is inevitable at this point. Sinka notes that he shouldn't say something so embarrassing, with her minions telling her that he isn't saying what she thinks he's saying. Sinka understands, but they should do that somewhere else. When they are alone, she will get back to her explanation now, as she was cut off. He is Adam, and she is Eve. Together, they will make children that will lead the new evolution of mankind. At first, she went to Juan to see if he's compatible as an Adam, and even used an EMP attack to save him. However, the security of this place is much stronger than she previously thought, as no external attacks made a dent. This is why, after they got their hands on the internal floor plan, they used a custom EMP and blasted it from within by using her ability. After that, she talked with Juan, but he is underaged and hasn't gone through puberty, and since an ability completes only when one is an adult, he needs more time. However, since time is precious and she won't give up, she has devised an amazing plan. Before Juan becomes an adult, she will work with him, and once he does, they will all work together for mankind. She found a genius solution to pass on the superior genes that belong to the both of them, and the family won't be related by blood at all. She asks Gangyu if he understands, but the only thing he's fixated on is that they used an EMP attack, the same one that killed his brother. Sinka wonders why she's curious, but remembers that his older brother was a prison inspector there, so he died after the EMP attack with the others. It's fine though, as he can just make a new family with her. She asks if he's made a decision, but Gangyu decided a while ago. He takes back what he said about killing being inevitable. He promises to make her death as painful as possible, by ripping her skin off and breaking her bones into tiny fragments. Sinka can't believe that he would want to rip her apart, but if she's honest, a lover's quarrel doesn't sound bad, as that's how relationships become stronger. Sinka can't believe how energetic he is already, but still has to block one of his attacks from hitting her. This makes Gangyu back away, allowing her to close the portal and say that they should do all of this outside. After he cools his pretty little head a bit, Gangyu refuses to let her go, so he charges all of his power and jumps right in front of her, before striking once again and again. Sinka believes this is like a game, so she tells him to come and catch her already. Gangyu does not care for her little games, but will certainly do as she wishes, and crush her skull in. He activates Mode 1, allowing him to move at insane speeds and almost catch Sinka, who moves out of the way and tells him to wait. But Gangyu is long past waiting, and charges in again and again, until finally he is stopped by Gato, who holds him in place. Sinka believes that things were going swell. She had no place to intervene, but Gato tells her that she would have died. Before she can finish her sentence fully, Gangyu grabs Gato and smashes her with full force into the ground, leaving only a pool of red blood. Surprisingly, Gato appears behind Sinka and says that if that guy would have gotten to her, she would have died. Now, what is she going to do for the life that she just lost for her? Sinka eventually relents and says that it's a pity to lose such precious genes. Why did he not sit still and accept the world for what it is? Gangyu activates Mode 5, but Sinka is done sitting around, so she uses multiple dimensions to let everyone out. He should say hello to everyone, as they are the new mankind, and they will be in charge from this day forth. From B3, a Swede, summoner type, who can't believe that Mago didn't die by his hands. Ho, physical type, who wonders if he will be able to tame her. Friatua, physical type, who asks if he's even needed around here. Natura, special type, tells him that everyone is needed in this new world. Pequeño, special type, only thinks about how scared she is. Vidi, special type, feels truly inspired by the scene in front of him. Mores, special type, tells him off for smoking in a public area. Xingxi, physical type, only says her name, and Tiburon, physical type, tells him to shut up already. Hyun Jo Young, special type, notes that there are only demons gathered in this hell. How fitting. B4 criminals. Tatsu Jin, special/physical type, who notices that her sheath is empty. Stiffness, physical type, notes that only useless bastards have to rely on weapons to fight. Terrapir, physical type, can't believe that number 4 is still alive after all. Maledity, summoner/special type, says that her clothes are pretty comfortable. Hero, special type, who does not say much of anything. And finally, the last B5 criminals. Ahura, special type, and Huang, special type, who is glad to finally see Gangyu. Gangyu is consumed by his own rage and thirst for revenge, so he activates his most powerful mode, Mode 0. With that, he charges into Huang, attempting to take him down first. As Gangyu approaches Huang, they both unleash a flurry of power that makes the whole prison shake from the clash. Morris feels like this is a barbaric way to spar, while Ho hopes nobody dies from this impact. The guards above tell the warden that they must leave, but she is too stunned by what has just transpired. Not even the smartest analyst could have foreseen such a thing to happen. Gangyu was pushed back only a little, and he activated his zero mode once again. All of the criminals in B3 and 4 were captured by the equality heroes, but none of them have seen Gangyu engage his battle mode like this. Hero now understands why Ryosa kept him from fighting, even in the most dire situations. Terrapir sees him as the embodiment of death, the manifestation of complete and utter power. The people who saw him now had different reactions. Some felt awe, wanting to draw him or brawl with him, while others felt jealousy, because they knew they weren't good enough to face him. One of them felt sadness because of his harsh decision, while one particular guy felt sheer happiness from seeing him like this. Huang didn't expect for him to have any more techniques since they fought so much. Had he had so much in him all of this time? He is utterly incredible. Gangyu charges in without any forgiveness, but Huang blocks his attack, as he knows that he has more to show him, and he wants to see it all. That's when he hits him with a dozen attacks. But Gangyu gets back on his feet instantly and rushes in once again, only to be stopped just as he reaches Huang. It's unfortunate, but he has already condensed the space in front of him in advance, making Gangyu crash into the wall. Maledity notes that the kid is quite frightful. He is quite strong considering he's only using one ability. Additionally, reaching adulthood boosts a person's power. So just how much of a monster will that child become? Huang calls out to Gangyu, as he knows that was not nearly enough to knock him down. As he calls for him again, Gangyu lands a powerful punch against him, and then uses his momentum to throw a deadly gut punch that sends Huang flying into a wall. Shin looks at this fight in awe, and Tiburon notes that this is a fight between monsters. Not even a second after the words leave his mouth, they are both decapitated, and Gangyu moves on to a Swede, who blocks him using Mago's defense magic. Truly, a masterpiece of a technique, a shape in which its creator died so soon. Does he also perhaps feel nostalgia seeping in after seeing his teammate's ability? Gangyu pushes even harder because of his words, cracking his shield, as a Swede notes that he is jealous of his sheer strength. Just before Gangyu annihilates him, Hero jumps to the rescue, kicking Gangyu away. Unfortunately for them, this isn't even the start of Gangyu's rampage. He will make sure that all of them are punished justly. Huang tells him to stop, as this was supposed to be their playdate. Additionally, he can still feel that he's hiding something. But what is it? Is he holding back because of the prison officers above? A softie until the end, huh? Something like this is far too boring for him, so he will create a playpen for the both of them. With one clench of his arm, the entire prison begins to twist and turn, rupturing right in the middle and allowing the night sky to pass through. From now on, they should go all out and leave nothing unused. Before the prison was completely destroyed, Gangyu used some of his power to send all of the guards and the warden flying in balls that protected them from the surefire death that was waiting for them below. Now Huang notes that this place is quite sturdy, allowing Gangyu to move ever so close before Sinka teleports him away from this place. It's quite rude to mess with people when they are using their abilities. Alas, they should go too. The dust in here is getting in her nose at this point. Tatsu picks up a piece of rock and shapes it into a fine blade, which she begins cutting the outside of the prison with. Sinka is quite surprised by her abilities, but instead of doing that, she should follow them through the portal and save her strength. Gangyu was transported in the middle of the city, but just as he appears, he disappears through another of Sinka's portals, leaving people to wonder what that was. Gangyu ends up back to where the prison was, now only a gigantic ball of metal controlled by Huang, who explodes it right into Gangyu. After the dust settles, Huang goes into the crater, where an injured Gangyu is. Everyone watches from above, and Sinka orders everyone to not get in the way. They are just going to watch. The reason why the B3 and 4 criminals were listening to Sinka so obediently was because of one simple thing. Whenever she met a criminal, she promised them one thing: to fulfill any desire they might have. She used this desire, a common feeling any human has, to successfully get everyone to join her alpha world. Some just plainly wanted to refuse, but Sinka warned them they can refuse, but they will have to die. When she got to Huang, he laughed at her suggestion, as marrying Gang Yu and then him is quite hilarious. However, he found a problem in her plan. Fighting Gang Yu is much more interesting than what she is offering. Sinka was worried for him. If he only goes for short-term gratification, he will become a dopamine addict. He should think about things long-term. If he kills Gang Yu, what will he do then? Huang noted that it was fine, as he would probably die by the end of the fight, but it would be okay, because he would have enjoyed himself. Sinka didn't know what to say, so she told him that if she gives birth to Gang Yu's child, and then to his, they will keep him entertained after they grow up. After he becomes an adult, he will become much stronger, and then he will enjoy fighting Gang Yu much more. If she works with him, he will be able to have fun until he dies. Huang saw the excitement in her eyes, and agreed to try, as it sure sounded fun. However, he doesn't love her at all. How would they even get married? Sinka told him that everything would be fine. He would certainly love her by then, and she could promise as such. She's kinda crazy, but I would love her too for sure. Gang Yu instantly gut punches Huang, who now knows that only one hand won't be enough for him. He should start talking too, or is he going to keep silent all throughout the fight? To make him say something, he tells him that what he has been holding all of this time is his precious brother, all nice and ball-shaped. Gang Yu's rage overtakes him and he screams out, lunging at Huang with greater rage than ever. As Gang Yu charges in, Huang uses his ability to create a bunch of rocky spikes, which do not stop Gang Yu, as he is far too focused to be hit by something like this. That's when what remains of his brother comes forward to him, and Gang Yu cannot bring himself to hit it, so he is thrown into the ground as a result. Huang knew what he was doing. He cannot attack this. He also came up with a genius idea. Will he be unable to attack him if he eats this thing? Since it's too big, he shrinks it, but Gang Yu does not allow him to make another move, as he kicks him in the gut, before punching him again and again straight into the ground. Eventually, Huang summons enough force to grab Gang Yu and use his ability to make the entire area light up with a blue hue. Sinka is mesmerized by his ability. It's a shame that the two of them cannot make up. The others agree, but more importantly, this fight is about to end. Both parties are injured, but Gang Yu has enough strength to stand up and tether the entire area to his ability, making the others unable to see what is going on inside. Huang just laughs. Just how many abilities can one person have? He really is invincible. He asks Gang Yu how it felt to kill someone. He probably feels dissatisfied like he does, since they are all weaklings who cannot satisfy them enough. Gang Yu tells him to shut up, but Huang wonders if he doesn't feel refreshed after releasing his emotions while fighting. He must have been frustrated all of the time, trying to keep his powers suppressed like that. All that, because he had to stay with those weaklings. Gang Yu gets serious, and notes that he knows nothing of anything. He is just a child. Huang looks up and sees the skill Gang Yu prepared for him. This is probably his last attack. Now that he's here, he wonders, if he really became an adult, would he have been able to defeat him? Gang Yu tells him to stop dreaming. He will die here. The ability starts to move, which can be seen from the outside, making Sinka worry enough to summon a portal, but it's too late, as Huang is already dead and gone. In a last-ditch effort, Sinka rushes to him and instantly teleports him back to Terrapir, commanding him to do something now. Terrapir immediately gets to work, and notes that this child should be dead, but he used his ability to protect all of his vital points, which is truly amazing. He removes all of Gang Yu's abilities from him, which he analyzes for a bit before removing his arm and creating a new one. He wonders what they should do with Gang Yu now, and Hiro feels that it's pretty simple. They should just kill him. Sinka tells them to wait a bit, before it really comes to that. She would like to talk with him one last time. Gang Yu sits in the crater until a few hours pass, and as he wakes up, he instantly goes to grab what remains of his brother, which saddens his heart to no end. Sinka arrives and says that it isn't too late to accept her offer. All he needs to do is come with them and create a new world. Gang Yu doesn't say a thing and activates his ability, making Sinka lose hope in him, and a Swede blocks him in place instantly. Since the negotiations have ended, it's time to kill him before he recovers his energy. He asks if there are no objections, and everyone agrees that he should be dead. Some are pitying him, as he is still young and unwise, while others just want to get it over with since they have been standing around and doing nothing all day. Hiro tells everyone to get out of the way as he transforms into a giant and punches Gang Yu with full force, who is still protecting his brother. With that attack, all of the villains began attacking Gang Yu one after another, and so even more hours passed, with Gang Yu still protecting his brother's remains. Just when Hiro is about to crush him, he is stopped by Huang, who remembers Sinka saying that he would become stronger when he reached adulthood. Now that he has experienced this, he has a dream. For the first time in his life, he wants to defeat Gang Yu. Sinka reluctantly orders everyone to stop attacking. She will kill him if anything happens. Even if the others try to protest, Sinka tells them to stop attacking. They all promise to listen to her, right? Nobody can say anything to that. And as they go through the portal, Huang looks one last time at Gang Yu, promising to be the victor the next time they fight. During the EMP attack on the maximum security Roculus prison, 8 B3 criminals, 5 B4 criminals, and 3 B5 criminals escaped, and their whereabouts are unknown. The last remaining villain there is Kingston, who watched all of this happen, and notes that things will become much louder in the future. Just as he said, in the future, Sinka would turn the entire world on its head. In the next few days, as a show was normally running and nothing strange was going on, the frequency was hijacked. A new world, the Alpha World, welcomes them with open arms. Sinka appeared, introducing herself as Eve, and the ones next to her as her loyal pets, Canis and Gato. Question: what is the Alpha World they preach of? Canis explains that it's the world that will be built to save mankind that has fallen ill, with Sinka as the new Eve of the new mankind. Question: who possesses the right to be a part of this world? Gato is the one who explains the conditions. The first one is to possess strong abilities. The second one is to not protect the rats that have no good genes and have not been selected. The third condition is that they must all be healthy and capable of breeding. Question: what will happen to the ones that are not qualified? Sinka explains that the genes that are not selected are committing a crime against mankind as a whole, so they deserve the capital punishment, death. They will be executed with no prejudice. They will all die, leaving the rest of them alone. In the coming months, they will be selecting the people who will become a part of their world and sending them invitations. Those who reject the invitations will be seen as defectors and be executed along with those who are not selected. With that, she removed herself from the broadcast and the show continued like usual. Now inside a dark room, some important people are talking about the Ruculus prison incident and the broadcast, which was streamed to the entire world. Beze, the world's president, notes that they should start the World Security Council meeting already. It's getting late as is. They pull up everything they know about Sinka, who isn't even on the list of villains. She just appeared out of nowhere. Some of them feel that she's a real pain. Something like this just had to happen when equality died. One of them asks how they should deal with her, but another says that there's something they must clarify first. Einheit, the Harmony Party leader, asks why the prison warden, Se Yun, gave the right to execute criminals out of her own accord without contacting any higher-ups. How can an individual give another the right to execute as they please? Another notes that he is spouting nonsense with no real reason. She made the best decision she could have in that situation. He would have done the same. This is Yudoriti, former Hero Association chairman and now World Party leader. Einheit notes that no matter how urgent the situation, she still had time to report it. Yudoriti says that this was not the case. Time was the most important thing there. That's why she did what she did, and she did it well. El Gayado, the justice minister, doesn't agree with Einheit either. Even though it is wrong to give someone the authority to execute like that, he understands that the situation was quite unique, and the decision was thought to make. Bauda, the fire commissioner, notes that the people might be suffering a lot because of the prisoner's escape. Crumb, the police commissioner, says that they have been working around the clock to ensure public safety since that broadcast. Guerra, the national defense vice minister, notes that they should consider themselves at war now, or is this just an isolated incident? He told them previously. Utariti gets mad, as he told them all previously that they had to be killed, except they postponed them for no good reason. If he were still the Hero Association chairman, they would have all died before any execution was needed. He can't believe that they would just coop up the most dangerous criminals on the planet in a small iron prison. Ever since Ryosa became the chairman, everything's gone to shit. Bauda notes that he has not changed a bit, and Einheit says that what he did in his chairman term was not correct, as the heroes of that time all abused their powers, and were crazy too. Utariti asks why that's a problem. It's way better to tie them down as heroes than let them become villains. After Ryosa became chairman, the ones who could have become heroes went right back to villainy, and continued to cause havoc. Bauda notes that the times have changed, but Utariti says it how it is. They are just a bunch of senile motherfuckers who are so obsessed with an idealistic world that they fail to see the reality in front of their eyes, or perhaps they are just ignoring it. Beze looks sadly at the chair in front of him and wonders what Ryosa would have said if she were here. This makes everyone shut up, and so the meeting ends. As Utariti gets in his car, his assistant asks if the meeting went well. He notes that not everyone is trying to justify the villains staying alive when they could have just killed them already. This is all the fault of Ryosa, that idealistic scamp. The assistant asks what they will do from now on, and Utariti explains that after Ryosa became chairman, the members of WSC, most of them at least, came in favor of correction. Those still in favor of punishment are the World Party and Police Commissioner, while the Justice Minister remains neutral. It's 4 against 2 here, which is why they are ignored. Even the current president is moving towards Ryosa's side. Now that the Hero Association chairman position is vacant, however, they must put someone good there. If it's 3 versus 3, their opinions will no longer be ignored, which is why they are now going to meet Gang Yu, former equality hero. He is also sure that other people have started moving too. The assistant asks if that guy wasn't close to Ryosa, which he was, but since the situation has changed so much, they should go and meet him and see what they can do. Whenever Gang Yu asked his teammates why it's wrong to kill villains, they either said that he's just too young to understand, some didn't even want to think about it, and some were still tied to their families and could not incur that punishment. One of them even started to spew a bunch of rhetorical shit that nobody cared for, and Ryosa told him that it's not their job. Their job is to save everyone. She said that everything would be fine if they did that, but the bastards all died without giving him a straight answer. Even recently, his brother's girlfriend was against complete execution, as it's their job to rehabilitate the prisoners so that they can get back to being normal. As Gong Yu tries to remember what he said to her, he sees Huang standing over him with his brother. He must be quite frustrated since everyone is saying a bunch of frustrating crap that will not give him the answer he wants. He suddenly wakes up in a cold sweat, where Mago's assistant is waiting for him. Is he fine? She apologizes for not being able to help, even though she knew something was going on at the prison. The warden hid the fact that a riot had occurred, so she couldn't find out. Gang Yu says that it's fine. She couldn't have been able to help even if she was there. The assistant asks if he's really okay. She hears that he was tasked with the execution of the criminals while inside. Gang Yu says that he's not actually okay. Not okay at all, in fact. He should have killed all of those fuckers and ripped their necks in two, but he couldn't do it. He asks Lepus if she came to spew rhetorics at him like the others, about how he's not supposed to kill. If that is the case, she should leave, as he's no longer a hero. He's a prison inspector. Lepus explains that they need to form a new hero association and choose new heroes. Right now she is the chairman, but with the incoming changes, they need a hero to lead them. They were thinking of choosing him, as he's a former hero of equality. Gang Yu thought he told her before that he's not a hero anymore. The heroes should go and take care of that. As soon as he recovers, he intends to go and finish what he started. Suddenly, Yutariti comes into the room and notes that what he said is correct. He is the new prison inspector. He must have gone through a lot to execute the criminals by himself. That being said, he will not have to do that anymore. He will soon become the Hero Association chairman, and he plans to allow the execution of criminals. Gong Yu remembers him as the representative of the World Party, but Yutariti says that he will step down from his position and run for the chairman position. He came here to talk to him and find out if he's interested in it too, but it seems that there's no need for that, so he just came by to say hi. He hopes that he will recover soon, and tells Lepus to watch the election very closely. She asks why anyone would elect him, but Yutariti notes that they will just have to see. She tries to say something to Gang Yu, but he tells her to leave, as he's quite tired and wants to rest. After Yutariti gets back in his car, he notes that he expected everyone to move around. They are all aiming for Gang Yu, it seems. After these abilities popped up, people went through a lot of shit. Organizations like the army and police are becoming too reliant on one individual. Soon, the WSC will discuss Gang Yu and his right to execute, and based on the current laws, Gang Yu's actions are wrong. He cannot deny that. The assistant asks what he will do, and Yutariti explains that it's simple. He will change the law. At the next WSC meeting, everyone is heated up about the warden being punished, mostly Einheit. Crumb notes that even if her subordinate had done what she did normally, she would have overlooked it. Yutariti tells Einheit to stop talking, as he's providing no information or solutions. He's just meaninglessly talking. He notes that he already came up with something. The fire brigade, the army, and the police will join forces in capturing the criminals and subjecting them to the law. Yutariti asks if he's actually fucking dumb. That's the same thing they did before, and look where they are now. Bize asks him if he's so against it, what does he propose they do? He suggests that they take a nationwide vote to see whether Gang Yu should still have the right to execute or not. Now everyone has a single question on their minds. Are they for or against Gang Yu holding his right to execute? Everyone is confused by Yutariti's proposal, so he explains further. Instead of them bickering among themselves, a vote will make things simpler and clearer. Everyone here is working for the citizens anyway, right? Is that not their duty? Einheit tells him that it's foolish to leave such an important decision up to a majority vote, but Yutariti becomes enraged, believing he's betraying the citizens he's supposed to serve. He also knows why he's trying to avoid this. He knows that he will lose the vote. He asks Bize if he's wrong, who, after a moment of pondering, agrees to his proposal. They shall do the vote. 2 weeks after this, the votes are done, and it's revealed that 88% agree, while only 12% object. It's a complete victory for Yutariti, which he feels is only natural. The secretary goes on to explain that those who agree think that this incident is a declaration of war on the country, and that the villains are enemies that must be killed. They all see them as beasts who have no humanity, so using the law against them would be a foolish venture. Since the cause of this problem is the pursuit of ideal situations, where nobody gets hurt, Gang Yu will also not be the only hero given the authority to kill, as they will all have it. The opposing 12% think that Gang Yu is too emotional right now, which will affect his decision-making in the future, so they are seeing him as too dangerous to allow him execution rights. They believe that by giving him this right, they will encounter the same problems as they did in the past with the other heroes. He will be above the law, and that will prove risky for society in general. Einheit feels that they should do their best to accommodate everyone's opinion, but Yutariti has had enough of his bullcrap. How can he suggest that, when the votes were clear as day, what's his problem now? Bize stops him, as fighting again will prove worthless. They shall have Gang Yu come here, and see what he wants. Later he meets directly with Bize, who notes that it's been a while since they last met, but he probably heard the news already. Gang Yu confirms that he did, so Beze asks what his choice in the matter is. Gangyu wants to follow the vote results and execute all of the villains personally. Beze understands him, but he would like to ask one thing of him. If the voting results were reversed, what would he have done? Gangyu is honest, and notes that if something like that happened, he would have still killed all of them, and then surrendered himself to the proper authorities. Beze understands, but he would like to ask him one additional thing before he lets him go. If Ryosa was still here, what would she have done in this situation? A faint expression of remorse appears on Gangyu's face, and he says that he should ask Ryosa for that, not him. Beze doesn't seem to know what one last thing means, and he asks another question. Once all of this is done and over, will he be returning to being a hero? Gangyu does not know the answer to that. It's probably the last thing on his mind now. A few days later, the special execution law regarding Gangyu is passed, and Beze appears in a press conference. He has given Officer Gangyu the authority to execute any and all criminals. This will help quell the prison escape incident and the acts of terrorism that will be happening from now on. Yudariti watches all of this from his phone and thinks that it's amazing. With this, they will be turning things around to how they used to be in the good old days. Since this press conference is live, everyone watches it and has different opinions. Some do not see the reason for it, while others can only mourn their lost and perhaps hope for justice to be served. Naturally, Sinka gets a whiff of this too, and decides that it's about time for them to move too. She hopes that all of her executioners are ready for some fun. One of them certainly is. Not long after this, in Spain and Portugal, reports of people receiving a letter of invitation from a blue portal pop up, and not long after, in a big enough city, a gigantic portal opens over it, and with the help of a Swede's magic, it gets blown up. The people inside of the blast radius have no chance of escape, and a Swede soon appears, along with Ho, Jo Young, and Morris, who call him a fool. What if there was someone who accepted the invitation among these people? How can he attack so foolishly? A Swede tells her to get off his back. If they are going to die from this attack, they don't deserve to join them. They don't need weaklings after all. Across multiple major cities, Sinka appears on the big screens and greets everyone with a warm smile. She explains that from today onwards, the execution of ones with incompatible genes will begin, so they should just stay still and accept that their life is over. Somewhere else, Gangyu prepares for what he's about to do and is ready for anything. It doesn't take long for the secretary to report the villains implicated in the recent incident and their descriptions based on the Hero Association files. First is a Swede, summoning type, and a villain that Mago had previously captured, who is able to engrave the stolen summon abilities of his opponents as tattoos on his body and use them later. He has the ability to also copy summoning abilities, but he often likes to just use destructive attacks to reach his goals. Next up is Ho, a physical type, who was previously captured by Yuji. She is able to turn her body into that of a fox demon, and with that, she can rip through countless people. She also seems to want someone to tame her, but reports on this are not confirmed. Next is Jo Young, a special type, who was previously captured by the Hero Hub. His ability is simpler than the others. He is able to summon demons, who look like those out of ancient murals. Even if not physically strong, he is still a major threat. The last one is Morris, a special type, who was previously captured by the hero Tomi. She is like most special ability users. They have conflicting reports on her ability, or abilities, as she seems to be able to even strangle people out of thin air. Her ability is complicated, to say the least. The Hero Association has also rapidly mobilized heroes near Portugal in order to help with this incident, which Yudariti is annoyed by, as he knows that they won't do anything to them anyway. Beze understands the situation and orders everyone to their posts. The firefighters will be rescuing the civilians, and the military and police will attempt to protect any civilians they come across. He asks El Gato where Gangyu is, who notes that he is already heading to that city, from what he's heard from the previous terminus warden. Einheit is shocked to find that she still isn't fired, and Beze asks if there's any way to know what their enemies are even after. The secretary has no information on that, but what Sinka ordered them to do is quite simple. They are to execute the people who have unchosen genes and help those who have accepted the invitations join their alpha world. This team is small because it's just a taste of what they are going to do. It will be easier to get the rest of the invited to join after this. So even if they are to execute anyone they see, their top priority is to bring the invited in. The ones who were not chosen can be killed at any time after all. There is no reason to rush. Morris seems to be the voice of reason in the group, as she tells them to stop destroying stuff. They have warmed up enough, so they should go and do the mission Sinka ordered them to do. Ho and Jo Young agree, but a Swede refuses. He will do as he damn well pleases. He will keep destroying and destroying until the people who have received invitations will appear. Morris warns him that he's stepping out of line. Is he really going to ignore the orders of their leader? A Swede asks what she's going to do about it, and since this bickering won't stop, Jo Young summons a crow to fly around with. Since this guy won't listen, it's probably best to let him go. Morris doesn't like that, and says that she will be reporting all of this to Sinka once they get back, but a Swede doesn't care. As he keeps destroying stuff, a Swede lets out a loud sigh, as nothing has changed since he has left that prison, which is annoying him. Everything is just the same. His ability is not getting stronger. No matter how much he destroys, his talent is cursed. He theorized this from the beginning, but it seems that he will just have to keep on stealing until he gets strong enough. Suddenly, a large bunny appears and attempts to crush him, but he blocks it with his barrier magic. He is surprised to see that Lupus cast it, who notes that he has not changed at all. Even after all those years in prison, he truly is irredeemable trash. Aswade notes that she has some great timing, and he always wanted to ask, did Mago have a good burial? At Lisbon, the Ability Academy, a bunch of students see the commotion going on in the city, with one of them noting that he's rightfully scared. Their teacher, Prof, says that everything will be fine. He will protect them no matter what, but to be safe, they will go to the shelter in an orderly fashion. Suddenly, someone appears in front of him and claps. That's someone being Morris, who congratulates him for being such an amazing teacher. All of the students retreat to the teacher out of fear, which Morris finds to be unrefined. Prof knows who she is, which Morris is surprised about, but he shouldn't be scared, as she knows he received an invitation, so he should follow her while she's still being nice. Prof instantly tells her to leave, as he will not hand over any of these children to her. Morris notes that he isn't smart at all, even more so since he interrupted her from speaking. He must really want to be taught some manners right in front of his students, huh? The Ability Academy was founded after Miel and Mael's incident. Raosa and Mago were the ones who set it up, in order to educate children on their abilities. In this building, the hero teachers would teach the children how to fit into society while being special, and how they can control their abilities. Morris throws her hat in the air and activates the Manner Zone, which engulfs everyone into the hat, including her. Before the others can express their fear well, Morris shuts them up by putting some muzzles on them, and is glad to finally have some peace and quiet. Her special ability is called Etiquette. The ability is only activated on people who Morris thinks are of lower status than her, and it can place any type of restriction, and even harm those affected. She tells everyone that if they try anything stupid, she has permission to off them, and she orders the 3 children who were invited to step forward. They do just that, and Morris notices that they are all special types, who have a lot of uses. The 3 of them will help their mighty queen in creating her new world, but she will let them choose, yes or no. One of them asks if by queen, she's referring to the lady who appeared on TV, which Morris confirms. She's an absolute beauty, and a mastermind who will save them all. The boy immediately refuses, as that person said that she wants to kill people without abilities. He knows a lot of children without abilities, that he will never hurt. The other 2 children agree, as their parents don't have abilities either, but it's not their fault. Additionally, their teacher taught them that it's wrong to discriminate against and hate on others just because they are different. He also taught them that those who force things with their abilities are evil people. They all tell her that she's a bad person, and that they will never join her, making Morris activate her killing ability, the one that strangles its victims until they are dead. Unfortunately for her, Prof is right there, and takes on all of the pain that was supposed to happen to the children on him. He is able to absorb the impact caused by a special type of ability, the perfect bodyguard. Now Morris sees why Cinca wanted him with her, as he would be the perfect bodyguard for her. Killing him would truly be a waste. Prof tells her that they know about her when she was young. Before he can continue, Morris stops him. She suspects that Tomai told them about her, but speaking about a lady's past is not wise. She's not here for that. Her queen has ordered her to come here and select people for their new alpha world. If he gives up the children, he shall be spared, but Prof refuses. He will never do such a thing. Morris cannot understand him. Is one of his own children among them or something? Prof says that it's not that. It's just one simple thing. He is their teacher. Prof originally belongs to the Hero Association and is a teacher at the Ability Academy. Even though he has a defense power that is able to sustain attacks from criminals on B4 or above, he was considered a 5th-tier hero when Utaridi was the chairman. His reason was that this ability was worthless, since it did not have enough destructive power to kill villains. Things changed when Ryosa became the Hero Association chairman, however, and Prof was one of the first who noticed it. One day, she came to him and asked if he would like to be a teacher at the Ability Academy. Prof thought that he was getting demoted. He was told countless times that his ability was subpar after all. Ryosa denied that notion. She was asking if he would like to be a teacher and hero at the same time. There is nothing more important than teaching the next generation, and she wants the most amazing of heroes to take on that task. Prof felt that he was not worthy of the position if that was the case, but Ryosa told him that there's not a hero that's more amazing than him. He's one of the few heroes who would give his life to protect anyone in the blink of an eye. Prof felt something he had never felt before, the appreciation of others. Morris notes that if she persuades the children, perhaps as their teacher, he will also listen, right? Prof tells her that the world as they know it is changing. As abilities appear and wars become prominent, their society will collapse, and has done so in the past. In order to stabilize society, countless sacrifices have been made by true heroes. Morris doesn't know what this has to do with her question, but all Prof was trying to say was that if that delusional woman's ideals start to be held as truth, their society will fall into chaos once again. Morris warns him not to insult the queen in front of her. He's just trying to find a way to reject the invitation. It does not matter to her if the current society falls or not. But Prof begs otherwise. If society falls into chaos again and starts to fail in its functions, children like her, who have suffered greatly, will keep appearing. Morris becomes filled with rage at his words. What the fuck does he know about her? Prof had told her previously that they know about her. She does not need to do this. Morris has had enough of his yapping and impales everyone to the ground. He keeps talking about shit he doesn't know about, which is upsetting her. Even in his condition, Prof continues to take away the pain of the children onto him, to the point where he can barely stay conscious. Morris does not seem to notice, however. She no longer cares for their well-being, so they will all die. After she finishes her speech, Gang Yu crashes his foot on her tiny head and recognizes her as the B3 criminal that she is. She should go on ahead and call over that crazed woman, if she doesn't want her head to pop like an overripe cherry. Morris asks if by crazed woman, she is referring to their queen, and Gang Yu confirms as such, but she should consider herself included too. She naturally gets mad and activates her kill zone, which puts Gang Yu in chains and summons a guillotine, ready to take his head. Gang Yu is unimpressed, and with only 2 movements, takes the ability out, while also punching her extremely hard in the face. Everyone is shocked when they see this, and Gang Yu tells Prof to get out of here now, but they can't, as the ability cast on them persists. To get rid of it, Gang Yu punches Morris in the gut so hard that it makes the building shake, and that does manage to remove the ability cast on them. Gang Yu tells them to run off as far as possible, which they do instantly, allowing Gang Yu to pick up Morris and begin the real interrogation. He will only ask this once. She will bring that woman here, or else. Out of desperation, Morris activates Lady Mode, which after a few short seconds, changes her appearance. It's been a while since she has been like this. Gang Yu immediately gets grabbed by 2 dressed entities, who say that ladies should be first. Morris isn't finished, as she activates another lady zone with her umbrella, allowing her absolute control over this domain. She tells Gang Yu that he's unfortunate to have come after her first. This is Morris's original appearance, and when Lady Mode is activated, those who recognize her as a lady are possessed by her ability. It's the same ability like her last one, only more powerful, which is why Morris did not expect for it to work against Gang Yu, who can rip into dimensions. All she wants now is to buy more time, so she starts talking. She wanted to help everyone complete Sinka's mission and return, so she steeled her heart the best she could and bought time. Gang Yu notes that she does not want to listen to him. She is a true fool. Morris says that he does not understand. If she were the one chosen by the queen, she would cry of happiness and accept immediately. Gang Yu activates his ability, but Morris tells him to stop, as she will tell him she knows where the queen is. Gang Yu refuses, as he doesn't need that information from her. He will bring her mangled corpse to a psychometric ability user and see it that way. Morris did not think of that, meaning that her dying here is worthless. She asks what he will do if he finds her. He will have to fight everyone there. Does he truly think that he has a chance? Not even the queen is merciful enough to spare him twice. Gang Yu doesn't seem to be listening to her anymore, so before anything happens, Morris decides to eradicate herself before he can do anything. Unfortunately, she is too late, and Gang Yu is already reaching for her. But that's when a blue light begins glowing, and Sinka appears, who is surprised by Gang Yu's request to meet her. Perhaps he's had a change of heart. Morris tells her that it's too dangerous to be here, but she is too late, as Gang Yu has already gone full power. Sinka expected that. Guess this means that he hasn't changed his mind yet. Gang Yu does not play her game, and breaks the barrier she placed. He will use every single ounce of strength to make sure she ends up rotting in the ground. Sinka is frightened, but not upset at all. She actually enjoys the fact that he's obsessed with her. She tells Morris that she'll take care of stuff from here. She wants her to deal with the people who refused her invitations. Before Morris can properly respond, Gang Yu attacks, with Sinka barely able to get Morris out of there before she is fully cut in half, but the damage has been done already. When Morris gets to the other side, she starts coughing aggressively from the injury, and Prof hurries the kids along. That's when one of the kids recognizes Morris. She's the one from the textbook. Sinka is shocked to see that Gang Yu is actually going overkill from the beginning, while telling her that this place will be her burial site. Sinka gathers that he must be in mode 0 in order to use such an ability. He truly is pushing himself way too far. Gang Yu decides to hit her, but his attacks are all caught by the portals and directed back into him. Unfortunately for Sinka, his own attacks do nothing to his body, so she calls over Canis and Gato, who immediately jump out of a portal, only to be shocked by what they are seeing. Gato notes that they shouldn't have come out, making Sinka ask if this situation is too difficult for them. Gato kind of agrees by saying that they should buy time instead of killing him, as he's using his ultimate technique from the beginning. What can they even do against it? Sinka listens well, and decides to just run away if that's the case. But she finds out that she cannot use her ability at all. Gang Yu has told her before, and he's no liar. This place will become her grave. This ability is called Dark Heaven Prison. It's a space made through Gang Yu's ability, and once someone enters, they cannot leave. In the past, Sinka could extract Huang because she used her ability from the outside, but now she is inside the prison, meaning that her teleportation ability is useless. Gang Yu rushes in with a might punch, which Sinka can barely block with her barrier. Gato and Canis see the danger of the situation and beg for her to release their lashes, but Sinka is not convinced. She promised Huang that she would let him kill Gang Yu after he becomes an adult, but Canis notes that if they don't do this, they will not leave alive. Sinka agrees and hopes that Huang will understand, but before she can give out an order, something happens that makes the both of them look up and start howling like animals. Sinka and Gang Yu also look up and see one man, the only one who is unrivaled in the world. Nobody in the entire world can hope to defeat him. Whether tens, hundreds, or thousands of enemies appear, they are no threat. The moment someone makes him an enemy, they are dead, so nobody does. That is what it means to be unrivaled in the world. What does he think about that? Does he want to be unrivaled too? Gang Yu is surprised by Kingston's presence, who notes that he is indeed strong, but not unrivaled like him, although he could fix that. Sinka asks what this senile old man is doing here. How dare he interrupt her? In that moment, Kingston punches at her, allowing her barely enough time to teleport a short distance away and announce that she was talking. Kingston finds her funny. In his time, women would not interrupt when men were talking. Sinka tries to tell him to get lost, but she notices the blood that's coming out of her nose. The attack actually reached her. Canis and Gato are afraid for her, but Sinka is more mad than anything. How dare a dying old man do this to her? Kingston notes that he is far from dying, as he's still standing proudly, although for someone as dumb as her, that might be hard to realize. Sinka feels insulted and unleashes hundreds of portals on Kingston, hoping that this was enough to kill him, but he is already behind her, noting how powerful her ability is. At her level, even Huang wouldn't be an impossible target, however. Both she and him have one glaring problem. Kingston punches her so hard she breaks her own barrier, and says that they trust their abilities so much that they do not bother to train themselves. To prove this, he will show her what a body that has been culled in fire and ice can do. Suddenly, a few portals appear behind him, and Canis attacks through them. Kingston naturally blocks the attack, but he can see that what he said for Sinka does not apply to her subordinates. They have some nice bodies. The three of them all jump him in the hopes of removing him as fast as possible, while Gang Yu watches. He was taken aback the first time he saw him here, but now that he sees where his loyalties lie, he decides to work with Kingston and end that woman right now, hopefully ending the regime. Eventually, Beze and the others get the news that Kingston has appeared and has made contact with Gang Yu. Bauda notes that he has always been an eccentric fellow, and Guerra agrees. He must have found something new to be interested in. Beze asks if Gang Yu is in danger because of him, but Guerra says that it should be fine. Even though they cannot measure Kingston's strength, they do know that he's not hostile. Bauda confirms this too. Kingston is pretty calm with them, but the person who is acting strangely is the person missing from this table, Utaridi. Morris can't believe what she is hearing. Why would their textbook have information about them? That's extremely dumb. It also upsets her to not end, so they should keep their mouths shut. Prof explains that it's not just her. Every criminal in the prison has been documented. Morris asks what for, to mock them and ridicule their legacy. Prof says that this isn't the case. It's simply for the sake of understanding them as people. After hearing that Raosa and Mago founded the Ability Academy, a familiar prison officer went out to find them. That officer was Gang Ho, who wanted to add criminology to the subjects of the school. Morris finds it ridiculous, but what do they think? After reading her past, what do they think of her? Prof tries to say something, but that's when an imposing figure asks him why he's chatting with a monster. He truly has not changed at all. He should have fired his ass when he got the chance. Prof is confused by his presence, but Utaridi tells the kids to listen well. The education they have received is entirely wrong, and he will teach them what they really need to know now. Criminals do not become criminals because of some lame-ass story about their little situations. Those who are controlled by their emotions would say that criminals become who they are because of the environment they grew up in. They try to trigger sympathy with these words, even though criminals have always just been prone to mischief. They are the mutants, the very cancers of society. Cancerous lumps like them have to be removed completely. He will give them a hands-on demonstration on how to do it right now. Morris asks how she can be a cancer lump when the world is the one that's wrong, but Utaridi shuts her up. As he's sick and tired of their repulsive excuses, he will say this one more time. But that's it. Even if they were born in another era or society, they would have still been the lowest of the low, like they are now. They were all never meant to be born in the first place. Bunch of freaks that they are. What he is about to do doesn't even come close to what her victims and their families suffered through because of her. But he will do anything in his power to cause her as much pain as he can in a few minutes. He looks at the clock he just put on and notes that 10 minutes should be enough. Utaridi is a physical and special type. Morris holds her umbrella up and tells him to get on with it, and so he does, charging in with a punch that makes her vomit blood and pierce through her skin, but she uses the momentum to back away, summoning a bunch of chains next to her. Utaridi doesn't care for letting her do as she pleases, so he rushes in with another extreme punch, and uses acceleration to hasten his attack to the point that only Mora's injuries can be seen. After softening her enough, he grabs her head and kicks her teeth in with his knee, which he continues to do again and again. He asks if she's in pain. It seems that Tomai really treated her too nicely. Overcome with fury at what happened to her, Morris screams out, creating a large denial area, and the gentlemen from before appear to drag him away. But Utority activates acceleration again to get rid of them in a second, and 4 times it to jump in with a face-smashing punch. Blood flows like a stream out Morris's nose, and then he jumps in behind her to send her flying into the air. His brutalizing continues, blood flowing everywhere, but Prof and the kids do not even see Utority, as he is too fast for the human eye. With the last charge up, Morris hits the ground like a meteor, creating dust all over the area, but she is in too much pain to even notice or care. Utority knows she must be feeling a lot of pain now. That is the kind of face a beast like her should always have. He smashes her face with his foot, before saying that the victims who they have hurt, and the families that are still suffering even to this day is a pain much more than physical. It's something they have never felt in their whole lives. He looks at the time and sees that he still has about 3 minutes left. Morris asks if what he has is a time acceleration ability, and Utority confirms it. If he uses this ability, he can control the flow of time, or any item or living thing he touches. Obviously, this means that he can make time much slower, so she should feel this pain slowly, and then die, like the cancer that she is. While only a few short moments have passed, Morris felt like she was in a constant state of pain for months on end. Utority finally decides to let her go, which is a pity. If only he had more time, he would have made her torture last longer. Morris surprisingly begins to laugh, which Utority questions her about. Has she gone completely crazy from the sheer fear of dying? Morris doesn't lie. She is in fact afraid of death, but that is not why she laughed. She did not think she would be able to complete her mission, especially in this way, but she is glad. Utority asks what she is talking about, so Morris tells him. If she dies, everyone affected by her ability will also get dragged down to hell with her. It's the ultimate sacrifice. Prof is spooked by her words, but Utority looks at him sternly. In the other part of town, Kingston continues to use his expert martial arts to block those who attack him, and answer back with deadly punches of his own. Gato becomes enraged by all this, and charges in with reckless abandon, only to prove fatal as Kingston smashes her into the ground. Canis screams, telling her to release her leash, but Kingston punches him right next to her. They are truly arrogant, to think that they are strong enough to have limits put on them. In their measly power, they have grown far too complacent, but they should not worry. He will make it so that they will never fall into this complacency ever again. In an instant, both of their hands are cut off, forcing screams out of them. Kingston knows that they have someone who can heal them. She's not too bad. Sinka cannot believe what she is seeing. Just who the hell is that old man? She does not have long to think, as Gongyu charges in with a breaking punch that sends her flying and hit the ground like a skipping rock. She attempts to catch her breath, but Gongyu does not allow it, rushing in to attack once again. She attempts to attack him with the portals, but he easily breaks through her defenses and kicks her in the abdomen, leaving her at his mercy. She begins showing her true colors, begging for him to reconsider, but Gongyu has no mercy left for any villain. He punches her again and again in the gut, each strike intensifying in power. Gato and Canis can only watch as their master is being dealt with. Gangyu prepares the final mountain-splitting punch, making Sinka cry out, "She cannot die here. She was not supposed to." Gangyu can only look at her with malice as he tries to strike her, but Kingston stops him. He should stop right here, as he did not do this just with his own strength. The ones that are unrivaled in the world should never get help like this. Utority asks Morris to say what she did again, and so she does. Everyone that was touched by her ability will die. What will he do now? He tells everyone to listen. He expresses his deepest condolences for their souls. With that, he kills Morris by striking her in the heart, his expression cold as always. If he got her treated, then perhaps she would have released her ability. But if they lost her while trying day, millions of other people would lose their lives. Compared to that catastrophe, it's only right he only sacrifices a few people. In order to treat cancer, it is inevitable that some good cells receive damage. Sacrifices are needed for the greater good. To honor their sacrifice, he will make sure that they all receive proper burials. Morris's body begins to emulate an ominous energy, which Utority can feel, making him glad that he can only use it when she dies. This would have been dangerous if she was alive. Well, he wishes them luck, but Prof probably does not need it, since he has high endurance, so he might survive. Out of her body, a deadly visage of Morris appears, telling them that it's about time they go and die together. Everyone is suddenly chained up, making the children rightfully scared, but Prof tells them to not worry about a thing, as he will protect them. Morris asks what he's talking about, but Prof notes that she heard him. The children shall be safe. The only one that is coming with her to hell is him. Gongyu punches Kingston, who is amazed by his punch. With this strength, he will surely be able to walk the path of an unrivaled. This was just a feint, as his real power is now going towards Sinka, whom Kingston protects. He really shouldn't ignore an old man like him. He only wanted to talk. Gang Yu cannot stand that he's being denied his purpose, so he charges another punch, but the air suddenly bursts apart in front of everyone. Kingston understands how he feels, but in order to resolve this situation completely, he must not get emotional. Gang Yu knows that he will die if this punch hits him, so he dodges, creating a sizable hole through his power, the roof, and even the skies. Sinka is in shock, but Kingston tells her to run away if she wants to. Now is the only time to do it after all. She feels embarrassed, but reluctantly retreats with both her loyal companions. Only Kingston and Gang Yu stand, with Kingston noting that they should have a good conversation, just the both of them. Gang Yu rushes in with rage, which Kingston can get behind. Talking with their bodies is really not a bad idea. Prof explains that it's as Utority said, he is only good at defense. At first, he did not like his ability. He felt like he would have been better off without it. But then, someone made him realize that this ability is absolutely needed for society. He will unleash as much of his ability as he can, and take on all of the damage on behalf of the children. Morris asks why she's going that far for them, but Prof told them already. He is their teacher. Morris does not understand what does that have to do with him dying alone. Prof knows that most likely, they will not be able to understand her, because of the different worlds they lived in. She was raised by awful adults and grew up as a machine, with the only purpose being to kill. Morris tells him to shut up. Prof knows that she had no choice in life, and was controlled worse than a puppet. Morris demands him to shut up. Prof knows that she was sent astray from the start. She walked the wrong path for the sake of a future that was never hers. Morris screams at him to shut up, but Prof will not. As they both got to the afterlife, he will correct all the wrong things she has learned. The job of a teacher is to devote their life to the future of these children. Since he was selected to become a teacher at the Ability Academy, he was prepared to sacrifice his very soul for these children. One of them asks him to not do it, but Prof tells them that everything will be all right. He hopes that they will all become great adults, because they are all the future of mankind. Morris becomes enraged, as she remembers something from her past. One day, a teacher by the name of Taelum presented herself. She will be the one guiding them because they are all their future. In the orphanage, Taelum would choose children with abilities and admit them into a school that she specifically built for this purpose. She told them that she would become the queen of the world, and all of them would be taking classes in order to become her loyal soldiers. She hoped that they would pay close attention to the classes, as they are quite important. Morris and the other children took Taelum's classes for entire years. They were taught ways to easily slaughter people with their abilities, brainwashing classes on etiquette, loyalty tests, and so on. These were all things that shouldn't have been taught to children, but Morris grew up the fastest in terms of her abilities. Thus, she was favored by Taelum and became class monitor. The authority of class monitor allowed her to punish the other kids on Taelum's behalf. Morris, after all, followed Taelum's teachings the most. However, when Taelum asked how her first day as class monitor was, she explained that she felt nauseous when she was punishing her classmates. Morris asked to know why she felt that, so Taelum asked one simple question: does she like bugs? Morris hated them, so Taelum told her that when humans look down at other inferior beings, they would naturally loathe them, and that's a very natural reaction to have. As time passes and her friends also become more like how humans should be, then she will feel less of that emotion until it fades. She should continue to do her best. She knew that she was the right person for the job. After that talk, Morris kept feeling that same nauseating feeling in her gut, like something was wrong. But just as Taelum predicted, that feeling faded. Near the end of their schooling, Taelum congratulated them on coming so far. Next year, they will be grown-ups, and she will be the queen of the world. That was how Taelum's plan progressed without hiccups, and she had an army of loyal followers who would do as she pleased. However, an incident took place that changed everything. Taelum's butlers, strong in their own right, were defeated with a few attacks by none other than Clark and Yahello, the special-type heroes. Taelum could not put up much resistance, which surprised Clark. Utority asked them to be careful with her, but perhaps he also just became too strong. He was also surprised that she would build a school and indoctrinate children into her agenda. She sure dreamed big. Yahello asked if they should go to the school too, which Clark did not feel like doing. But she pointed out that Utority will be mad at them if they don't, so they decided to stop by. They gathered all of the students and presented the body of their teacher to them, announcing that from today onwards, the school was closed. Everyone was naturally shocked to see their only purpose in life be so brutally killed, so they charged in all at once. With a single snap of her fingers, Yahello sent them all flying, while simultaneously knocking them out. Clark was surprised by how loyal they were, and Yahello wondered if it would be okay for them to bring them along. Clark told her that re-educating them so that they could blend into society would take a lot of money and time, and even if they succeed, at the end of the day they are still killers. They will always have what they were taught in the back of their minds. Who's to say they won't decide to just start killing people? Perhaps they have been doing it up until now, but Yahello did not know what to say. They caught them before they had the chance of even getting out. Clark believed all of this to be a giant headache, and asked Hilo what they should do with them. She said that letting them live would just cause problems in the future. It's much more effective to just get rid of them now. Their minds have already been indoctrinated, and since the world they live in no longer exists, they will definitely become villains. Clark agreed that rather than having to get busy in the future, they should put in some more work now, and come up with the crimes they have committed later. Hilo told him to save some strength as they approached, but Clark did not seem to have an ounce of mercy in his expression. Clark and Hilo began to mercilessly kill the students, but Morris did not understand why. Other than them taking classes, they didn't do a single thing to anyone. Clark told her how it was. They were all dangerous. They were abandoned by their awful parents and then grew up in this awful orphanage. Little did they know this orphanage was run by a villain, and the only thing they have learned up until now is to kill and maim. That sounds pretty dangerous, does it not? Their parents would agree, since they abandoned them, that their mere existence was a mistake. He can only hope that she will have good parents in her next life, wherever that may be. As blood sprayed around, Hilo seemed to get a little too excited, and just before Clark moved in for the kill, he was stopped. Hilo had seen enough, so they should begin already. Clark told her to be patient. He must kill the last remnant of this orphanage. Hilo told him to let her live, as the simple thought of a classroom stained with blood, filled with dying children, and to top it off, a single child who survives, makes her extremely excited. Clark can't believe her thirst is that big, and while they were doing that, Morris found an opportunity to run away. That is how she survived, on the mere whims of those two, and so she decided to wander around, without any destination, or home, to return to. After a long time of senseless wandering, someone recognized her as one of Taylum's students, and gave her a place in his army. Together, they would ignite the spark of revolution. This was Caracas, and under him, Morris participated in countless battles, killing countless people. After Caracas' death, she was captured by Tamai and sent to Ruculus. That was how she learned throughout her lifetime. She thought that this is how she was supposed to really act, and that is how everyone had to live. However, after all this time living like this, he dares to tell her that she's wrong. How can she ever accept that? When Cinca appeared to her, she assured her, saying that she's not in the wrong. It's the world that's wrong. Once she became queen, she would change the world to its correct state, where she would fit right in. She offered her a place to stay, a place to belong to. So he better answer this next question. Just like Utaridi and the others told her, was her birth truly a mistake? Prof gently tells her that nobody in the world is a mistake. Everything she has experienced is truly horrible. He understands it. However, that does not mean she is acquitted of the numerous crimes she has committed. Those are too many to just ignore. So he will go with her, console her over the abuse she went through when she was young, and also take responsibility for the crimes she has committed, because he is a teacher. Before that, though, he has one final request. Can she isolate them so the children don't see? Morris tells him to shut it and drops the guillotine on Prof, who turns around with a smile and tells everyone to close their eyes. Truly, it has been an honor to teach the next generation, which he will forever cherish. Before the guillotine drops on him, however, something snaps, and Morris begins to disintegrate. She does not need someone like him to follow her because she already knew that she was in the wrong. She just didn't want to admit it in the slightest. What she did to her friends was revolting, but even so, they believed she was in the right, and that she was doing this for them too. She was disgusted by her own reflection, which she only saw in the pools of blood left behind by her friends. When Tomai captured her and told her to stop living as someone else's puppet, she saw herself once again and was disgusted all the same. Even in that ridiculous prison, she saw her reflection in the meager soup they gave them and felt disgusted. This was way too painful for her. That is why she refused to admit it and told herself that she did not feel those things and that everything she was taught was not wrong. The one who was disgusting was the world, not her. That is what she truly believed all her life. However, when she saw what a true teacher, a true adult was really like, she couldn't deny it any longer. In truth, she has lived a shitty life and was a disgusting person because of it. Gang Yu continues to try and strike Kingston, who simply blocks his attacks and asks what made him so angry in the first place. Perhaps this anger comes from not being able to kill that crazy brat, or because he couldn't kill that girl. Would his problems not be solved if he was strong enough? Gang Yu tells him to shut it as he prepares another strike, but Kingston tells him that the situation will not change, even with his anger at him. If he does not get stronger here, he will not be able to kill neither that brat nor the girl. In the end, the only problem he has is within himself. If he wants an example, when he tried to kill that girl, he intervened. But if he was strong, that would not have been an issue. His anger comes from a state of denial. He is just too angry at himself because he cannot accept the fact that he is a weakling. Gang Yu recoils from what he said, but still rushes in, making Kingston believe that he understands him. Truthfully, it's hard to admit one's weakness, however. He must accept it fully. That weakness is a part of him, and he can only move forward by accepting it. That is the only way he can reach his goal. He asks, once again as he pummels him, why is he so angry? Gangyu remembers everything that has been done by these shitty humans, the countless people that have suffered because of their greed. This fuels his power, and his rage makes him even faster. But Kingston has something to say. He should really think about it. What was the reason that caused all these things to happen? He punches him in the gut, but this punch destroys all of Gangyu's misconceptions, and he finally realizes all this suffering, all of it was because he was weak and not good enough to save them. Kingston asks how he feels now. Has he calmed down? Gangyu finally admits it and asks what he must do now. Kingston believes that to be a foolish question, as the answer is right in front of him. Gangyu accepts the hand that has been extended to him, forging a new relationship. Ho and Jo Young get ready to leave at the order of Sinka, but Ho doesn't get why they have to do this so early. Jo Young notes that they must do as they are told. Additionally, he doesn't think that this will end anytime soon. In front of them stands Mienji, a special type and a new recruit. As Swede continues to fight Lipus, with the fight not really going anywhere. So Sinka comes around and asks why he's delaying so much. He explains that he has some unfinished business, but Sinka is not in a happy mood, so she tells him to come back right this fucking instant, or she will break his neck. With this, the invitation delivery incident finally came to a close, and Kingston, who came back with Gangyu, had requested to meet with the world government. His request was granted, so now he speaks to them. He was wondering why he got in so easily, but probably because he sees some familiar faces around here. Guerra says that it's been too long since they last met, and Bauda asks how he's been. Kingston didn't expect to see them at the top. They sure are greedy. Guerra notes that they are definitely not as greedy as him, which Bauda agrees with. Beze grabs his attention, and with a careful tone, asks why he has requested this meeting. Kingston didn't expect the president of the world to be so young, but he didn't come here to talk. He just wanted to update them on something. Gangyu has officially become his apprentice, so they shouldn't get in their way, that is all. After Kingston bid his farewells, Beze asked the rest for a vote on what Kingston proposed. Those who objected were Krum, Bauda, Guerra, and Einheit. The only person who agreed was Utariti, and as usual, El Gallado was neutral. Utariti believes that they have reached the peak of their pathetic selves. Why the hell are they objecting to something like this? The most powerful man on Earth just said that he will be helping us, and they dare lose this opportunity? He doesn't understand Krum especially, since she would seem on board. Krum tells him that no matter what, criminals are criminals. She's already plenty displeased that they let him inside of this building. Einheit believes the same about Utariti. Wasn't Kingston someone who was at the top of the execution list? Utariti can't believe it. The situation has changed, and naturally that doesn't fucking matter anymore. Bezade is really stuck on what to do, thinking that he only had bad luck since he got in charge. On the other hand, Sinka was at a loss too, as she thought that the old man would have been weak by now. And if he really is weaker, what was he like in his prime? She thinks on it, but that's when Huang arrives. He came here because she ordered him to. But is this really necessary to defeat Gangyu? Sinka believes that it is. It's something he must go through in order to become a full grown-up. Sinka is assured that her plan will not fail now, as she has Huang and many other cards she did not play. The only thing she needs is patience and a bit of luck. The next day, everyone gathers at the Hero Association, with Lepus explaining that they are here to elect the third generation of equality. With this announcement, it is time they begin. The selection of equality will be as follows. The chairman of the association will propose the 5 candidates, and if 2/3 of the heroes agree, the government will then investigate the candidates very thoroughly. Unless a reason to disqualify them is discovered, they will then become members of equality. Before she could talk about her proposed candidates, Utariti asked her who allowed her to do such a thing. She is just a temporary chairman after all. Lepus asks why he's even here, as he lost his qualification as a hero a long time ago. He explains that he's merely observing this meeting as a party leader. If that is the case, Lepus suggests that he stay silent, as he doesn't have the right to interfere in this affair. Utariti repeats himself. He will not acknowledge her as association chairman. So as a result, if a temporary chairman like her selects the equality candidates, the World Party will just deny her decision, regardless of reason. She is a mere temporary chairman. The important decision of selecting equality members should not be done by someone who has temporary in their title, but someone who was officially appointed. Lepus asks if he's gone insane. Does he not know about the situation they are currently in? They need to select members quickly so they can resolve it. Utariti finds it amusing that she's talking about solving the situation, because she did basically nothing in Portugal. She did not kill the villains that she was supposed to, and played around with a Swede. Lepus asks if he only considers killing an efficient job. She did her damnedest to protect the innocents. He should also speak for himself. She has heard that he tried to sacrifice the children that were held hostage. Why does he force others to be like him? He has not changed even a little bit, which is disgusting. Utariti tells her that he's not the one who needs to change, it's her. No, actually it's everyone in this entire fucking hall. Why do they care so much about what happened in Portugal? He simply made the right decision in that situation. Were there no casualties at the end? Or perhaps he received the wrong report. He also thanks Lepus for bringing up sacrifices, because right now, they are sacrificing the entire fucking world for the sake of some hapless criminals. Using the precious taxes of their people, they built a castle for them and fed countless murderers and other manners of criminals. They go on and on about rehabilitating them into society, which is a nice pipe dream, sure, but they should wake up already. No matter what they do, they will never change, because they are all trash that must be killed. Have they not seen what they've been doing after escaping prison? They went to serve under a crazy-ass woman and are preparing for massacre once again. In this situation, she, who was a mere apprentice of Mago, dares to even want to select the new equality members and run the Hero Association? It's pretty obvious that she will begin preaching bullshit, like heroes should not kill, acting all righteous and noble, only to comfort herself. Let's be real here. Nobody wants her to become the Hero Association chairman, so she shouldn't try to act like one. Lepus is mad at his words, but gets it. If she becomes the official chairman, they can proceed with the standard procedures, right? Utority agrees, so Lepus suggests they put it to a vote. Utority agrees to do a public vote, but Lepus says that they are too short on time, so they should have the heroes here vote. The result will be decided by the majority. Utority doesn't know what to say, as all these heroes were selected by Ryosa, so the vote will be too biased. Lepus then suggests they do it like the equality selection method. They will need 2/3 to agree. Utority has nothing to say, and so the voting takes place. Unfortunately for Lepus, she has been rejected, much to her surprise. Utority is quite pleased that she didn't reach her required voters. It seems like they will have to choose a new chairman after all. As Utority has stated, the heroes in this place have been active during Ryosa's chairmanship, so that was precisely why Lepus did not see something like this happening. The reason that this result showed up is quite simple. As soon as the Ruculus incident had occurred, Utority reached out to all the heroes, as if he had been waiting patiently for this to happen, and spoke to them frankly about his own views of the world. Although most heroes were against him, who had been the second association chairman in the past, a lot of them were persuaded, due to the recent situation. Although the most important thing is that even if they did not agree with his thoughts, there were a lot of hero who agreed on appointing a new chairman. The reason for this is because Ryosa had actual accomplishments to her name and achieved amazing results that could support her decisions and policies. Lepus had none of this and couldn't even be compared to Ryosa. The heroes thought that Gangyu, a former member of Equality, was the best choice to inherit this position. But because he chose to go and kill criminals, there was a split of opinion between all the heroes. Utority has noted that most of her fellow heroes doubt her abilities as chairman. So what will she do now? Lepus mumbles something about a vote, which makes Utority ask if they will finally do a public vote. Lepus once again says that they have no time for that, so she will select the candidates and do a majority vote. Utority says that she has it all wrong. The Ryosa she so admired and loved said that the one taking the position of chairman has to be determined through public vote. She has ordered that in time of emergency, the government can decide to shorten the election period. She should also be made aware of the fact that anyone can run for the chairman position, even if they are not a member of the association. This was a great policy made by Ryosa, so she should get her little magic staff and tell the government right fucking now. They will be re-electing the association chairman, so they need them to decide on the election period. She ought to do this much as chairman, even if she is a temporary one. With this, Utority steps down as the leader of the World Party and declares his intent to run for the chairman position. The question on everyone's minds now is, who would be a more suitable candidate between these two? Beze thinks of what he has found while in his office, his mind circling the same thoughts. He went to meet with Kingston, who thought that he was fearless, to actually meet him alone. Is it all right for the president to do something like this? Beze had heard from Boda and Guerra that he would not hurt him, making Kingston damn those two geezers. He also heard that he has no abilities, making it more impressive that he climbed to such a high position. Beze wanted to get this over with, so he went straight to the point. What is his goal here? Instead of answering, Kingston asked if he knew about the growth of abilities. Beze said that for summoning types, the more imaginative they are, the stronger they become. Special types and physical types are the most powerful after puberty, where their bodies are in their prime. Kingston told him that he was half right and wrong. For physical and special types, it is true that they will become stronger as they grow up, but for physical types, they can break through their limits through sheer hard work. Is he not curious to see it? A human who has become a top-level special type, and how will he look when he will become a top-level physical type? Beze said that the country would not be able to control them if that were to happen, but that was not of Kingston's concern. If he's that interested, he should ask Gang Yu, as these are not questions for him. All he wants is to see how strong a human can truly get. Beze then remembered when Ryosa came to him, and wanted to use her authority to add another person to equality. This was unexpected, because she was really adamant on procedures, but she said that who she wants to invite is someone worth overlooking these procedures for. Beze knew that he would be strong after hearing her describe him like that, and asked if he could be trusted. Ryosa confirmed as much. He is someone who they can all trust. Because of this, he also decided to trust Gang Yu. Kingston knew that he had his answer, so he bid him farewell. It's not like he could change something even if he didn't trust him. Bazet thinks that with this resolved, he will be able to rest a little. But that's when his secretary barges through his office and says that the Hero Association wants to elect a new chairman. Additionally, Utority has announced that he will run for that position. Bazet is about to resign, as it seems like peace is not his fate at all. He agreed to Kingston's conditions and only let the executives that attend the government meetings know about his plan. It is being treated as top secret, and the Hero Association chairman election will proceed with the guidelines decided by the government, which are as follows. After 3 days of candidate registration, there will be public debates held over 2 weeks. The chairman will also be elected through public vote. However, the elected chairman can only serve a term of 4 years, and once the Ruculus prison incident is resolved, their term will end. Originally, anyone in the world could register as a candidate, but because there would be too many candidates, only people that are supported by the representative heroes of the area can run. During the registration period, Utority and Lipus declared their candidacy. Mute, a special type hero, is the MC for the election and gives the candidates an opportunity to speak to the heroes. Utority goes first and decides to keep it short and sweet. They should take a look at all these faces. Because of their ideals, these bastards were released into the wide world. What do they intend to do with this? Will they spare them again? Imprison them again? Only for them to escape again? He trusts that they are not as foolish as he and everyone else thinks. Lepus goes next and explains that when Utority was chairman, she witnessed firsthand the numerous heroes who would commit murder for no reason. The number of innocents that were killed by heroes were probably more than those killed by villains. She knows the current situation is dire. A crazy woman who insists on improving mankind's genetics is threatening the world. However, Utority is no different. He and people like him determine what lives are important, and then force the minority to sacrifice for the greater good. Everyone is equal on this planet, so they should not forget the obligations that Ryosa emphasized throughout her life. After that, both of their strategies were to divide the support base. Both of them ran about the world to recruit their representative heroes into their own ideologies. The heroes that decided to support Utority are as follows. From North America, Angunasukti, and from India, Ajit Ledio. The heroes that support Lipus, who represent Europe, are as follows. From Oceania, Pocket. From China, Mianji. From the Middle East, Carfagar. From South America, Hassan, and from Africa, Alterigo. After securing support, they had debates up until the last day of candidate registration, tearing each other down again and again. On the last day of the candidate registration, Mute announced that the candidate registration was over, but just when they were about to start the final debate, they all saw something strange. Someone new has registered for candidacy. That person came in front of them and greeted the heroes. She introduced herself as Medius, and her current occupation is a high schooler. Lipus was confused about the situation, while Utority was more annoyed by it. Utority wonders what kind of situation this even is. Does she think that they are trying to elect a student for the position of a damn president? Besides, only people supported by the area representative heroes can join. Harfagar confirms that he in fact does support her, which confuses Lepus, as he was supporting her in the past. Harfagar explains that he changed his mind. He will support Medius from now on. That was how candidate number 1, Lepus, candidate number 2, Utority, and candidate number 3, Medius, completed their registrations. After getting back to his office, Utority sees that everyone is talking about that damn middle schooler, but the secretary expects nothing less. She's quite the topic after all. However, the public is criticizing Carfagar, and the middle schooler too, because they think that she's treating this as a joke. Utority asks if she's looked into her, which she has, but she only appears to be an ordinary female student with nothing special going on in her life. Utority then asks if she has some sort of ability, but the secretary did not look into that, although she suspects that she does. At Carfagar's office, Lepus questions him on his choice, but he is not against it at all. He will answer everything honestly. Lepus asks if he's known her for a while, and even so, this is not something he can decide on just his feelings. Carfagar tells her that the first time they met was today, and explains that he returned to this office to do some work, and there she was, sitting in his chair. At first he attempted to subdue her, because he thought that she might be a villain, but after talking to her tens, perhaps thousands of times, he became certain that he wanted to support her for the candidacy. Lipus is rightfully suspicious, and asks if she can use her ability on him. Carfagar allows her, so Lepus activates her medical ability, expecting to see that he's being manipulated, but this is not the case. Lipus still decides to reprimand him for this decision, as it's not something he can decide on just instincts. Carfagar tells her that it was not instinct. He is certain that she must become the Hero Association chairman. The appearance of an unknown person caused some havoc, but although she's unknown, she does not seem to be a threat. Utority and Lepus had tons of questions, but they judged that this would not affect the elections much, and so they focused on their own goals. The day of the debate approached swiftly, and Muta, who was the host once again, began explaining the rules. First, each candidate is given 10 minutes to speak. Their respective turns to speak is decided based on their candidate number. Each candidate can present their pledges during those 10 minutes, or ask questions to other candidates. The time used to answer these questions will be deducted from the time of the candidate that posed the question, so they can choose whether or not they want the full answer. Besides that, when other candidates are speaking, another candidate can raise objections twice and have 1 minute to object. After the candidates introduce themselves, they will then begin the debate. Lepus introduces herself first, Mago's apprentice and former Equality member. Next is Utority, former Hero Association chairman. Last is Medius, who only introduces herself as Medius. Lepus goes first and she begins in earnest. They have suffered through many wars before, after abilities appeared centuries ago. From when wars between countries started, to the unification of a world government, numerous internal strifes happened. After the appearance of the Hero Association, the war dividing the ability users into heroes and villains started. That was how they spent most of their time during the collapse of their already unstable society. However, thanks to the hard work of people like Ryosa, they were able to build a solid foundation for their society, and it started to perform its functions better than ever. They all remember the heroes of Utority's chairmanship. They were lawless, their beliefs misaligned with their jobs, and they only did it to kill villains, and even innocents. The past will repeat itself if Utority wins. The society they all built with their hard work will only crumble in his hands. Utority raises an objection for 1 minute of objection, and says that society is on the verge of collapse already. Can they not see the current situation? He truly cannot understand why he is recognized as a slaughterer when he holds back his tears as he makes sacrifices. However, when they sacrifice their entire society for these criminals, is that the right thing to do? It is impossible to do greater good without sacrifices, and if these sacrifices must be made, he will not waste any time and unroot any and all crime. If they had begun doing this from the start, the incident they all know about wouldn't have happened. Lepus tells him to stop and take his hand off the clock immediately, as his 1 minute felt more like 5. Utority smiles and asks what she's talking about, but Lepus is having none of it and wants to engage in battle. Mute stops her by muting her and explains that she may speak only when her opponent's time is up, while also warning Utority to refrain from using his ability. The image these two represent in this election is important, because this is the time for them to show the world who they are. Both Lepus and Utority are raising their voices as they criticize each other, so they can leave a stronger impression. That was how both of them launched attack after attack against one another during their talk, instead of telling the world what they will even pledge to do. However, when it comes to strong impressions, one of them is better. Utority is quite puzzled. She's a woman who hasn't the guts to kill an evil person. So how does she intend to resolve the incident? Does she want to say that she's stronger than Ryosa or something? Lepus was no match for Utority, because he already knew that the public only sees her as Mago's apprentice. She looks weak, like a tiny rabbit. If that is the case, if he can take control of this, he will be able to end this debate in the direction he wants. With Utority gaining the upper hand, Medius's turn came. She explains that Utority led the Hero Association to a small organization all the way to one with worldwide influence. He has exceptional drive and decisiveness. Lepus is trying to carry Ryosa's will forward, and has made the organization stronger and tougher with her beliefs. With this, she will combine their strengths and resolve the issue. Before she could make her pledge, Utority interrupts her. As this place is not one for a child like her, she should go back and study. Or perhaps she's having a hard time with that too. Mute tells him to shut it, as he used up his time, but Medius wants to let him speak. Utority asks what she wants to talk about, so Medius reveals that she's an ability user. Ryosa built the Ability Academy when she was chairman, and so there is no way they would know what ability she has. Utority tells her to reveal it if it's so grand, but Medius is not obliged to tell him. Utority believes that she is. As someone who wants to lead an association, she must possess some skill. Medius understands. If that is the case, they should fight as soon as possible. He only needs to decide the location. Everyone who is watching the debate is rightfully shocked by this, but Medius goes further, requesting an ability MMA-style battle. Utority began to think about it. This is an unexpected challenge for him, as despite how strong of an image he has crafted, he still began to think hard after this invitation. The scheme Utority has been using to build the image of others with his words is what is hindering him now. If he agrees, since he did treat her like a kid, he could become someone who fights kids. However, if someone who has tons of political influence fights in a rink, then they will be reduced to being the same level as his opponent, which is a loss. If he wins, the victory will be meaningless. And if he loses, that will be the end of his political career. If he rejects the requests, he will become someone who is scared of fighting kids, and a coward. That's what the people will immediately think of him as. Utority decided to use his ability to accelerate his mind and think of numerous plans. No matter what he chooses though, the information that he has to obtain first would be her ability. What could she even have to invite him with such confidence? In a forest, Kingston stares at the sky, asking Gang Yu if he too feels that things have been out of place recently. He asks what he means, so Kingston explains that he feels like things that were already said are being repeated. Gang Yu doesn't know, as this is all that he's doing, but how long will he have to do it anyway? Kingston doesn't get this feeling. Perhaps he's going senile, but something really is strange. Medius would like an answer from Utority, who says that she's acting on emotion, just like a kid would. How could she suggest such a thing when they are having a simple debate? This is not her playground, nor her little toy house. Medius explains that she's serious, and he said so himself, that the most important aspect of a chairman is their strength. When he was talking about Lepus, he said that she was weaker than Raosa and cannot be trusted because of that. When he was association chairman, he also made heroes fight between themselves to assign them tiers, so they should see which tier they are in, and decide a good location already. Utority regrets having toyed around with this snake, as she's quite venomous, and unlike him, she has nothing to lose. Utority agrees that her words make sense, but before he can say any more, Mute uses her ability, as Medius decided to not give him any more time. Utority is quite mad. This kid just cut him off after she almost heard the answer she wanted. Just what ability does she have to make her so confident? Utority believes that it's time to gamble. He will use his fastest attack to test her out, but before he can, he stares deep into Medius's eyes and sees something that shocks him. Since she only has a few minutes to speak, she decides to make an impression. After numerous wars, their society has become like a tangled knot, as they have problems they can no longer fix. The person who cut this unreasonable knot apart was Utority. However, he did not pick up the severed pieces, and continued to cut and cut. That is how the normal rope which had done nothing wrong got destroyed. Raosa was the one who received that rope and tried to put it back together, but even her knot had rotten parts, which are causing the problems of today. However, even if she will maintain its current state, she doesn't want it to be cut up in two like before. She will carefully dissect the normal rope without breaking it and put it back together. This is not the time for extreme measures. They need to find the center and move forward in a balanced way. If she becomes the association chairman, she vows to request the government give heroes the right to perform executions, and the heroes who will have this privilege will undergo a strict inspection first. She promises to exercise caution and deliberation in determining the villains that are to be executed. Naturally, the death row inmates of the Alpha world will be killed on sight. That is everything. With that, the first round of debates came to an end, so now everyone is wondering, who will be the most suitable hero association leader? With the first round ended, the approval rates of everyone came in. Lepus has an 8% approval rate, Utority has 35%, and Medius has a quite large 57%. Additionally, a portion of the heroes who supported Lepus at first have switched to Medius. These heroes are as follows: Mianji, from China, and Hassan, from South America. After those events transpired, Lepus called for a press conference where she said that she heard clearly what Medius talked about, but because she used up all her time on Utority, she could not refute her words. She is still a high schooler with no experience. How can she decide who is able to take the life of another? She's just as dangerous as Utority is, and just as devastating if she's elected. After criticizing Medius harshly, she called the ones who defected from her, who wondered what she even wanted. Lepus knew they knew. She wanted to ask them about their decision. Hassan tells her that he just went with his gut. That is all he needs, basically. Lepus did not expect much from him, but she's more surprised about Mianji, as she did not expect her to do this. If her teacher, Yujie, knew about this, he would probably be sad. Mianji thinks of her teacher, who once told her that the world is complicated. Things that were thought normal in the past become sins, and vice versa. He killed tons of villains in his past, as his reasoning was that it was the only right thing to do. After meeting Raosa, however, he changed his mind, and even then, he does not think that his current thoughts are correct. That is why he told Mianji that there are no perfect answers in this entire world, so no matter what situation she faces, she just has to do her best, as that is all that matters. After hearing the debate, she determined that Medius is more suitable for the position of chairman, rather than her. Karfagar tells her once again that they will not change their minds, so they hope that they can avoid meeting with her during the election period. After the first round of debates, everyone in the media began to focus on Medius. There were articles upon articles about her school life, her family, and her fight with Utority. Amongst them, however, the most talked about thing was a question: what exactly is her ability? Utority has a clue, but he decides to look further, stopping every frame of their debate. After a long time, he finally understands and has discovered her ability. At Sinka's hideout, Canis and Gato feel like things have been repeating for a while, which Sinka also has felt, but she can't quite understand the feeling. Huang feels it too, and is quite perturbed by it. Outside, Priyatua, who is a special type, has gone back to being a kid, and is quite bored because of it. His life goes by in a week, as his entire lifespan is just a week, and then he resets. Currently he is a teenager who is filled with vigor and boredom. Natura gets it, but Sinka told them to wait around here in case something weird happened. So they should do just that. The artist is getting inspiration from his ability, but Priyatua asks Natura to go out for a while. Just the two of them. Natura explains that Sinka will be mad if she finds out, but Priyatua says that they don't need to get caught then. They will just be visiting a nearby village. It's like they are doing recon or something. Natura thinks about it for a while and decides to do just that, as it's been a while since he has gone into the wild. He asks the others if they want to join, but both are too preoccupied. And Vidi believes that just like in comics, characters who don't listen to instructions and go out are the first ones to die. They ask Asweed too, who remembers how Sinka reacted and decides to let them go on ahead. After a while, both Natura and Priyatua end up in a field, both happy to finally be out. But that's when they notice a bunch of lights, and 3 people standing right next to them. Mianji, Hassan, and Karfagar are ready for battle, all under the watchful guise of Medius. Utority immediately wants to hold a press conference and accept the fight request too. His secretary thinks that he's joking, but he's not, as that's the only way he can win. He knew something was weird. It happened during the debate a few times. Her ability really is overpowered. There was no way he could have won that. Medius, the girl who appeared out of nowhere, has the ability to turn back time. The secretary is surprised to hear this answer, and Utority believes it fully. As the longer the debate went on, the more things felt out of place. She repeated the debate probably countless times, and changed it into a future that would be beneficial for her. The secretary is shocked, but this means that there's no way to defeat her. Utority tells her to listen, as she has a weakness. It has to do with what he sent her earlier. Does she see something different about her in these pictures? The secretary sees that her hair grew quite a bit, which Utority confirms. But why does she think that happened? The secretary doesn't know, so Utority explains that she can indeed rewind time. She cannot rewind herself. This means that if she gets injured, no matter how little, she will not be able to reverse that injury. She will go back in time with the same scars on her body. So after he accepted her challenge, he knew that he would win. The secretary wonders if it's just that she can control time, sure, but she would also be strong physically, right? Utority tells her to not forget. He's also a time ability user, and he has controlled time for far longer than she. He will win, as he knows the fate of time ability users best. No matter how strong, they will always have to pay with their lives. Natura uses his plant growth ability to attack Karfegar, who simply cuts the plants up. His ability is beautiful, not fitting for a murderer, but he likes it, as he can see the curvature of the plants. However, just so he knows, like his plants, his blade has curves too. Hassan rises high in the air and tries to smash him with the hammer, but Natura gets out of the way. Hassan can seal the abilities of a user for 24 hours by striking the top of their head. That's why he's titled the Headhunter. He tells Mianji and Karfagar to take that guy's bandana off his head, as he cannot see it well. Mianji's ability is a transformation sword. Depending on the color of her mask, her ability manifests differently. She uses a blue mask to freeze Natura's feet, who is rightfully scared, and asks Priyatua how long they have until he's an adult. He explains that he will be in his prime soon. They only need a few seconds. Natura keeps the enemies away, and as the moon becomes larger, so does Priyatua, until his whole body is jacked. His current age is 23 years old, his physical prime age. With time on their side, he thinks that this will be an easy win, but these words make Medius burst out in laughter. It really is funny to see them be so wrong, as time truly is not on their side. She rewinds time, and with her guidance, the heroes begin their attacks in earnest. Mianji puts them under pressure immediately, allowing Karfagar and Hassan to move in, who manages to smash Natura and Priyatua. Medius knows as long as she is alive, time will always be on her side. As Utority relaxes in his office, his secretary comes in, making him think that the reporters are here, but that's not it. She just wanted to show him something that has just been uploaded. A rather ordinary television broadcast was suddenly interrupted by a news flash, where Medius explained that she has captured 2 of the B3 criminals, Priyatua and Natura. The 2 of them are under the careful watch of the area hero representatives that follow her. She was going to kill the villains, but she's still a civilian, so she will hand them over to the government for now. How they will be dealt with in the future will depend entirely on the upcoming association chairman. Additionally, about her fight with Utority. Since things are urgent right now, she will fix the fight date with him after she's done with her business. Their focus will consist of capturing all the villains instead of infighting them. She trusts that Utority understands, and with that, the broadcast ends. The secretary tells him that besides that, she requested to speak with him, so what will he do? Utority has no choice but to invite her inside. But what does she even want? Did she rewind time this time too? Medius isn't that surprised that he found out, but Utority tells her that it wasn't hard, since he's also a time ability user. She reveals that she cannot rewind time for herself, and Utority believes that there must be a limit to how much time she can rewind too. Perhaps it's a week, or even 10 days, because if she could rewind time forever, then she would have been able to go back to the terminus and stop it. Medius says that he's correct. In order to deal with the chaos that is their society, the world government hid what happened even after Cinca's broadcast, and she wasn't able to get the exact info at the time. As he guessed, she can turn back time by a week, meaning that she will be able to get information a week before anyone else does. Utority realizes that a week from now is almost election result day, so why is she telling him all this? Does she need to do it in order to win? Medius explains that as she exchanged countless debates with him, she realized that trying to test him out and avoiding his answers was rather futile. They are both time ability users, and she always wanted to tell someone like her about her abilities. Utority is annoyed. It seems like she's trying to build a bond or something, but he has no intention of building anything of the sort. Medius understands, but if that is so, they will see each other at the debate. Before she leaves, Utority inquires about her symbol. Why is it a capybara? He thought she was a physical type of user because of that at first. Medius's reasoning is quite simple. They are just cute. Her accomplishments brought over an area hero representative from Utority, Ajit Letio, and one from Lepus, Alter Ego. The second debate was cancelled with the agreement of all three candidates, and Cinca, compared to her feelings of anger when she found out about what happened, was more displeased about Medius's entire existence. On the other hand, despite the world moving, those who are quietly advancing their own goals, and those who want to create a better world in their vision, have begun to move busily. Time passed and the third debate round approached swiftly. Mute is once again the host, and with this being the last round, candidates have 60 minutes to talk. The speaker sequence will be in reverse order of their numbers, and the maximum time they can talk is 10 minutes. They may raise objections thrice this time, and when all the time is used up, the debate will end. She welcomes in the candidates, Lepus, who seems determined, Utority, who seems rather bored, and finally, the person who shocks the whole world with her appearance, Medius, who has grown significantly. Before they begin, Mute confirms that she actually is Medius, who says that she is, and only wants to start faster. With that, Mute starts the debate, and the first thing Medius does is reveal her ability of rewinding time. As they can tell, she cannot rewind herself too. So before the third debate started, she rewound time again and again to gather information. Now she has all the info she needs on their enemies and their location. If she becomes chairman, she will use that info to launch a full-on attack on the Alpha World base. In order for them to live a safe future, she will offer all of her time so that she can complete her mission successfully. That is what she has to say. Once Utority's turn begins, he immediately withdraws his candidacy and announces support for Medius. Before this debate, he called her over, and knowing that she already knows the future, did not go much into detail. Thanks to her, he felt like he drank the same cup of coffee thousands of times. Just how much has she rewound time? Medius said that he will find out during the debate, but Utority has already thought about it, and he has come to the conclusion that she's the best person to resolve this situation. He told her his plan to withdraw his candidacy and provide support, which will certainly ensure she wins since Lepus barely has any ratings. Medius knew he had something he wanted, which Utority confirmed. She already knows this, but the term of this association chairman will end as soon as the situation is resolved. So once her term is over, he wants her to not participate in the next election. Medius agreed, which surprised Utority, as he did not expect it to be so easy. Medius had no real reason to reject. So with that, Utority left her with one piece of advice, from one time user to another. She should not make the mistake of thinking that time is on her side because she can control it more. She will find out that time is fair, to a point that even she doesn't realize. Lepus immediately jumps on Utority, asking why he is even participating if he wanted to withdraw. Utority says that he can do what he likes, and it's still his time to talk. Lepus asks why it would matter since he withdrew his candidacy, but Utority says that his withdrawal has not been processed yet, so he would like Mute to silence this rabbit, as it's his turn to talk. Lepus continues to scream at him, as she can raise objections, and she's using her time fairly. Utority has had enough, so he lets her have all his time and asks Mute to mute him, and also make it so he hears nothing, as he's quite tired of her. Lepus calls him a greedy pig and tells him to leave if that's so, but he believes that he is not greedy, as he would not withdraw his candidacy if he were. Medius reveals that she wants to leave too, as she has other more important things to do, like get more information. Mute is really confused about this entire situation. She has not seen a debate like this in a while. With that, the debate came to an end, and Medius was elected the 4th Hero Association chairman. The world government confirmed this result, and called a meeting with Medius, where she told them all the info she gathered and the future of the world government. In return, they told her that she would have their complete support, and also about Gong Yu's situation. After the exchange of the information, Yahello stopped her and wondered if she was sick of hearing the same things over and over again. He probably felt like this countless times. While this is his first time saying this, she probably already heard this, but he will warn her, staying neutral is hard to do in their world. After her talk with the world government, Medius looked for heroes, and asked them to cooperate with her on the policies she enforces. Most heroes followed her without a hitch, but Lepus was the hardest to win over. Medius gets a headache just by looking at her, as she has had this conversation too many times. Lepus says that this is their first time speaking after a while, which Medius notes she also said, but there's no way someone as strong as her did not feel that something was out of place. She will not try to convince her. She will respect her opinion, but she needs her. So she hopes that he can follow her beliefs and join the mission. Lepus was already going to do that without her even asking, so it was settled. Later at the Hero Association, Utority congratulates her for the title, but seeing her expression, she probably failed to convince that stupid rabbit. Medius says that she's a woman, or principal at least, but Utority only cared about ending this quickly. If she needs advice on how to hold a speech, she can ask him anytime. Thus came Medius's first speech as chairman, where she explains that she has gathered them to decide the third generation of Equality members before their mission. Her choices are as follows. Harfagar is first, then Mianji, Alter Ego, and finally Lepus. Their leader will be none other than Utority, who does not seem to be a part of this plan and is quite puzzled. The heroes naturally became restless at Medius's selection of Equality members, as that's not at all what they expected. They certainly didn't expect her to make Utority the leader, but she also invites him for some talk after this speech is over. Just as they promised, they go to the back room. Utority immediately says that he was wondering what she was hiding. Perhaps this was it. Medius explains that she's not trying to hide it. She would have given him a straight answer had he actually asked. Utority laughs in her face and explains that he has no intention of joining Equality. There's nothing more tiring than working with people he does not particularly like. Medius says that this is why she's making him the leader. If he becomes a member of Equality and does what is needed of him, he will be able to secure a position to win the next election. Utority doesn't feel like it's enough. Even without doing that, he will be the winner of the next election anyhow, as that rabbit has no leadership skills. Medius asks why he's so sure, as Lepus will be participating in this mission as an Equality member. If she makes a huge contribution, then she will become a real threat to the next election. Unlike this time, Utority doesn't believe she will be able to achieve anything, but Medius also throws in the fact that someone perhaps even more unpredictable than her might be joining the next election. If he decides to help her with this mission, she will use her ability to help him win the next election. Utority is surprised by this rather generous offer, but Medius isn't done, as she tells him that if he helps, she will gain more authority as association chairman, and that will benefit him in the next election when he's trying to get this position. Utority looks at her and decides that since in the future, he will be a part of Equality anyway, given she has not turned back time, he will help, but she should keep her promise of helping him in the next election. Medius is glad that he came around, but the more they talk, the more fascinated she becomes. Utority asks why, so she tells him that in most conversations she had with the heroes, they would ask her if they would survive this mission, but he has not asked it a single time. Utority does not see death in his future, only the position of association chairman. She should prepare the plans quickly so that they put this mission to an end soon enough, because the next chairman shall be him. Through yet another speech, Medius explained her reasons on why she chose the Equality members and asked the heroes to agree. That was how the third generation of Equality members came to be selected. Medius called this mission Obliteration, and in order to fight against the Hero Association, which has moved rapidly, Sinka delivered even more invitations throughout the world. Unfortunately for her, Medius already knew who accepted her invitations, so she dispatched heroes to them before they even got the invitation, and subdued many of them. This led to a very low number of people joining her, which seemed to annoy her. A bunch of people came up to her, all wondering why they are categorized as the third floor rank. Among them are Terra and Sorore, both physical types, Nudius, a special type, and Achila, another special type. Barus, a physical type, asks where Huang is, so Sinka answers all of their questions. If they perform well in this war, she will raise their ranks, and if she accomplishes something huge, she will even reward them. Also, Guang is training separately right now, so they won't be able to see him. In the dead of night, gigantic balls of fire appear in the skies above Sinka's hideout, which dye the sky in their glow. This was all done by Mianji, who is glad to be a part of this operation. Kainis tells Sinka about the fireballs, but she has eyes too, so she opens a gigantic portal, which threatens to dismiss Mianji's strike. Fortunately, Karfagar appears and uses Arabesque to completely annihilate her portal, and force the fireballs to strike straight down. Utority is quite mad. If Lipus had summoned a meteor on top of those firewalls, the damage would have been amplified threefold, but she would not do it. Lipus is tired of telling him that if she did that, it would cause too much damage, and perhaps even hurt their allies. Utority doesn't care. If they die from that, they shouldn't even be heroes, but Lipus tells him that he should be the one to quit. Alter Ego tells them to stop fighting. They should go to the coordinates that the association leader told them about in the first place. Utority agrees, and asks if everyone is ready. It's about time they destroyed these cancerous cells hanging on humanity. Besides forming the new Equality, Medius also formed an advisory committee. The members are Mute, who is in charge of security since she can create a space that isolates sounds, meaning that nobody can eavesdrop. Next is Prof, who who is in charge of guarding, a countermeasure against any and all assassination attempts on Medius. Last is Idiopia, a special type, and more commonly known as the genius mechanical engineer. He is in charge of communication, as he can create devices used to pass down orders. This advisory committee had a meeting and came to the conclusion that if they don't have information on where Cinca is trying to go, they cannot make moves. Mute is puzzled by the fact that they managed to achieve an EMP attack on Ruculus. Idiopia thinks that there was an outsider, but Medius says that they will get that information after they kill Cinca. They will simply use psychometry to find out. They should focus on their mission now, however, as it takes precedence. Medius had used 2 years of her life to prepare for this mission. She had used that time to think alone, eat, and sleep, among other things. The motive behind this amount of planning was to try and prevent the death of all heroes, so the moment things turned dangerous, she turned back time. Medius thinks that her ability is inconvenient. It would have been better if she could rewind her own time while keeping her memories. She kept rewinding time and forged the future she wanted, together with the advisory committee. Utaraiti knows that she rewound time a lot of times. She is dreaming of a perfect future, even though he already told her that time will always be fair. She should keep rewinding as much as possible because the future she wants will never appear. Medius had dispatched heroes who were strong against their respective opponents. She tells the area representative heroes to take care of the level 2 villains who received invitations. As for the level 3 and above, they should not worry, as the equality members will deal with them. Censura is a special type, and her special ability is censorship. She thinks the world needs to have a healthy mindset, so for anything she deems indecent, she will take pictures of them and lock them in the pictures. That's why she can't help but scream at Lepus, because of how vulgar she is. Lupus thought Medius was supposed to put them against enemies they have an advantage over, but this woman is a terrible match for her. She tries to cover up with a bunny hoodie to please Censura, but it's not enough. Lepus asked what the standard is, but unfortunately for her, the standard would change depending on how she feels in different situations. Censura thinks that she has the body of something that must be censored. Why does she wear those kinds of clothes everywhere she goes? Does she like to show off? Lepus becomes enraged and smacks her down with a carrot, as this is just what she likes to do because she likes rabbits. She immediately calls Medius and asks what this matchup even was. She put her in this disadvantageous situation where she could have died. Medius tells her to stop whining, as she is an equality member who dealt with a level 3 villain. She sent her after Censura because she's unlikely to kill others. She is someone who they won't have issues with even if she lost. And besides that, there are civilians among the people she trapped in the pictures. If they kill her, there's a big chance the civilians will die. This is why she paired with this villain. Lepus calls her an obnoxious brat, even though she's an adult now. Carfagar meets with his opponent, Sorori, who actually wanted to meet him. She wouldn't have thought that she would get the two individuals who call themselves the Sword Gods. Today is definitely special, a day good for dying. Although she asked the other Sword God for teachings, she was rejected because it seems she has not obtained the swordsmanship she wants yet. This is why she wants to ask him, what is the blade? She has cut down numerous lives, but she does not get it. Will she know after cutting more? Carfagar admits that he has also cut down numerous opponents to gain realizations. He mercilessly cut down even those who begged to be spared because he wanted to gain realizations. However, he obtained the most important one in a place he never imagined he would. The sword is something she could never achieve. They both draw their blades, but before Sorori could even move, Carfagar has already finished her. The sword is not a tool that one wields for their own, but for the sake of others. Utaraiti eventually gets to his opponent, Patera, who recognizes him. He's pretty old, but he's got quite a big fighting spirit. It is a pity Carfagar is not the one who came here, but he is fine too. Utaraiti tells him to stop talking. He hates trash like him who spews crap as if they got some right to. His words are useless, so he will just kill him. Utaraiti gets right to business and punches Terra straight in the gut, who tries to strike back, but Utaraiti gets out of the way. Terra is impressed with how heavy his punch was. He wonders if it's because he accelerated time, but it was swift too. It seems like slashing would be more satisfying for this occasion. Utaraiti asks what the hell he's talking about. He hasn't even used his time ability yet. What happened just now, and what is happening currently, is happening in real time. It seems he cannot dodge a simple attack even after transformation. Even among physical types, there are different grades, and it seems that he's on the lower end. If he uses his time ability now, it will be the end. Patera tries to tell him to wait, but Utaraiti has no time for weaklings, and with a 4 times acceleration completely annihilates Terra. Did he really think he would just let him get up and counterattack? The third generation of equality was able to defeat the third floor's criminals without issues, proving Medius's planning. As Lepus looks at her target, she suddenly gets spooked by Utaraiti, who is standing right behind her. He knew that she would do something like this. Why is she not killing that woman and instead dragging her along? She will dispel her barrier so that he can go ahead and do her job. Lepus obviously refuses, so Utaraiti decides to just blast away the whole barrier. Lepus tells him to try it, but Medius tells them to calm down, and tells Yutariti about the civilian stuck in the camera. Yutariti asks what if she somehow escapes, but Medius assures him that this woman won't be a threat. She wasn't in the countless futures she experienced already. He asks if she will die in a week, but Medius has not seen that far, as she's not seeing the future in days currently, but in hours. Yutariti is surprised by this, and asks what kind of future she's drawing. After drawing the big picture, even if there are some parts that are wrong, she must draw it quickly to complete it. If she draws it bit by bit, erasing every time something is wrong, when will she finish drawing? Medius doesn't care. Even if it takes a long time, she will not let anyone die. Yutariti tells her that there is no perfect future. She should not try to take everything on, as it's inevitable that heroes will die. Medius just wants to do the very best until that happens, which Yutariti obeys since she's chairman, but he wants her to go see the future 1 week from now. Then they will decide if this woman dies or not. Medius does just that and sees everything that will happen, including death, surprises, and a familiar red flash. She tells Yutariti that the woman will not affect their plans. She will stay imprisoned after going to prison. Yutariti is satisfied with that, and asks the next big question on everyone's mind. Did they win the war? She explains that victory is plausible, but if they continue at this rate, a few heroes will die. Yutariti says that it can't be helped, but Medius wants to at least try, even if she has to use up all her time. Yutariti sighs and tells her to at least save some time for his election. Lippus asks what he means, but he tells her to shut it, as they are moving forwards. Prof asks if they will win, but since victory looks promising, all they need to do is reduce hero casualties. Everyone agrees on it. However, Medius has found something strange. At the moment when the Alpha World villains that are in combat get wiped out, Stiffness, Terrapir, Ahura, Sinka, and Huang are nowhere to be found. This means that only half of the villains are participating in this war. So Yutariti had some right. Medius suggests they make a little more progress, as she will need time to take a look further into the future. Using her instructions, the heroes easily got rid of the villains, but Sinka was preparing something special, a group of executors. They all must have felt that abnormality in the flow of time. It seems that Medius thinks that time is on her side, but they will show her that it's on theirs. Everyone agrees, all of them reacting to this differently, but it doesn't matter, as they all have the same job to complete. Hassan is glad to finally be done with the subjugations, but Oceania's representative hero, Pocket, is surprised that things went so smoothly for them. She asks if he really doesn't want her to do anything, which he confirms. She shouldn't use her ability if possible, as it will be hard for him to see her use it. Anyway, B2 criminals really were far too easy. Pocket presumes that the B3 and B4 criminals are being handled by equality, which he confirms. They will probably be only handling B2 criminals. Unfortunately for him, that's not the case, as Baruch shows up, saying that it's really nice to meet them. There is a villain website hidden in the web known as Tragedy, where bounties of heroes are placed. Baruch is the most renowned bounty hunter there, and that's why Pocket is scared now, combined with the fact that he's a B4 criminal. Hassan tells her to relax. They have Medius on their side. She probably had her reasons to allow this meeting. His hammer can take out any criminals after all, even from B4 if need be. They just have to work together. If they take off his hat, it's game over for him when he reaches the crown of his head. Barris guesses he's the one who can seal abilities by striking a person in the crown of their head. The bounty for a representative hero was actually quite good. At least he remembers it to be so. Anyway, he has a question he always wanted to ask when he met him. How does his ability work if he has 2 swirls in his head? Hassan doesn't get how that is even remotely related to his ability, but Baruch thought that having 2 swirls meant he has 2 crowns in his head, which means he will have to strike him twice, right? Hassan asks if he really doesn't know. Humans only have 1 crown in their head. Baruch didn't know that, but is also curious about bald people, and if they even have crowns. Hassan explains that everyone has a crown in their head no matter their hair, and for bald people, he can actually see the center of their head clearly, making them his favorite targets. Baruch understands. It seems that he has gained some new information. Hassan also tells him that before laughing at bald people, he should go and check himself too. Having 2 swirls in the hair is an early symptom of hair loss. Baruch looks at him for 1 second, before announcing that he will kill him in the most painful way imaginable. Hassan asks why, but it's because he has given out information that was not necessary. He has humiliated him, and that's reason enough. Hassan tells Pocket to get ready, who immediately begins transforming, which grosses Hassan out as usual. Pocket is a physical type, and her ability is to transform into a kangaroo. Baruch likes this. Physical types are always fun to fight. In the mountains, Kingston tells Gang Yu about physical types, which unlike special or summoning types, who control their energy externally, physical types do it internally. For those ability users, the strength of their ability is basically decided at birth, and there are many of them who would get lazy because of this, and ultimately give up. That just means their vessel is not big enough. If their vessel is small, their energy will naturally overflow, and it will keep flowing. The size of said vessel can be grown with training, They will refine his together to make it even smoother, and he will learn to control these energies. Additionally, those who have reached the level of controlling their energy are a threat to be reckoned with. Even if they are physical types, they can infuse their energies into an object. After this mighty shot, Barus brings out his lasso and captures both heroes in one fell swoop. They can't do anything anymore, because he has his energy fused into this thing. With them in this state, he will take his time ripping their skin off. Suddenly, Gang Yu appears and uses a destruction fist on him, surprising everyone there. Kingston is glad to see that he is able to grow quickly. He just needs to feel the energy of his body in that manner, and move with it. He looks closer at his opponent, and sees that he's the perfect warm-up for this lesson. He wants him to strike that guy by mixing special type abilities in, just as he has practiced. He will fail if he kills him in one strike. He must use at least 3 or more techniques. Barus can't believe that he's being treated like a punching bag, and Kingston sits down. He will eagerly watch and see what his apprentice can do. The Hero Bounty website is called Tragedy, and when the Hero Association worked on tiers, a bounty was paid, beginning from tier 5 all the way to 1, with rewards varying slightly. The biggest bounty that Barus ever got in his career was from killing Cones, one of the Equality's members. After taking him out, he was able to retire and live a free life with the money. Looking on Tragedy became just a hobby for him. However, one day, a bounty that piqued his interest appeared. That was for Gang Yu, and even though he was an Equality member, there was no real bounty specified for him. Since he was curious, he contacted the website, and they told him that they simply could not estimate his worth, since he did not participate in many battles. They offered him the position of finding out how strong he is. They promised to generously reward him. Barus refused. He had everything he needed after all. At the time, he left it at that, being slightly curious about him, however. He heard about his win against Xiong Huan, so he really wanted to check him out. He wonders, just how much is he worth now? He shoots 5 swift bullets at him, which Gang Yu easily deflects with the back of his hands and uses a Darkanva-style punch to close the distance immediately. He punches Barus in the air and begins assaulting him with a flurry of blows, making him understand why he did not have a specific bounty. Just like Tragedy said, his bounty cannot be truly estimated. Barus bears the full blow of a mighty punch, sending him to the ground, leaving the other 2 surprised. They knew he was undergoing some type of secret training, but they did not expect him to be learning from Kingston. With this advent, they both ask to be his students, but he tells them to get lost. He has no time for weaklings. Hassan is really sorry that he ever doubted Medius. This is why she let them come here. She really is the best. Kingston thinks of her. He had thought that her ability was on par with Euterides, and he was quite annoyed. With her ability, she could shape the future in any way she wanted. He thought of this idea as far too boring, so he wondered if he should just kill her right now. But he remembered what the old chairman told him, that if he does anything bad, they will no longer entrust Gang Yu to him. He thought they were threatening him with that, but the old man was simply asking for a favor. Kingston was surprised. He is the leader of the entire world, yet he bows to another? Has he no pride? The chairman told him that he was going to do whatever for humanity, impressing Kingston, so he agreed. With this in mind, he decided to just sit around for a little, and then kill her if he was bored. When Medius once again rewound months and months of time, Kingston decided to kill her. However, he clearly saw what would happen, her abilities not being able to blind him. Gang Yu was not at the level where he could sense it yet, so he just told him to focus on his training. Kingston was surprised by the future. He certainly did not expect it to be at this level. He congratulates Gang Yu, as his technique has become even better. It truly seems that there's nothing better for improving his abilities than a true fight. He still has a long way to go because he still cannot sense what he can. He will have to train him through more fights, meaning that this will be much more fun than he previously anticipated. Eventually, Medius gets the news that Gang Yu has defeated Barus, meaning that at this rate, they might really prevent any heroes from dying. Medius still wants to rewind time. She will slowly put this big puzzle together, piece by piece. The news of Gang Yu joining spread among everyone. Euterides believed it's about time, but this meant that they only needed to go after Huang Xionghuan. Suddenly, Maledity appears and asks why he's treating the rest of them like they do not exist. It's really nice to meet the former association chairman though. She can say that. Euterides corrected her. He is the future association chairman. Mianji was faced with Ho and Joyoung. They're both glad to meet her again, and promise to send her to where her master is. Lepus is confronted by a Swede and Pequenu, who just asks not to be killed. But Lepus assures her that nobody is dying today. Alter Ego is met with Vidi and the maid. They describe him as number 4, which he detests, as he has a name. Jin finally meets with Amir. She really wanted to meet him, and since they are both swordsmen, greetings are not needed. Gang Yu is faced with 2 opponents, Canis and Gato, with their lashes having been taken off. Kingston tells them to wait, so he can talk with his pupil, but at first they don't want to. Kingston gets serious, and tells them to wait, and it's because he said so. He tells Gangyu to fight these guys slower. They are amazing for training. Gangyu has followed his instructions to the T all this time, but how much longer does he have to hold himself back? Can he just off them already? Kingston refuses. He probably realized that he has gotten stronger than before, but that is not nearly enough. He should understand that in this place, other than himself, nobody can match him, but that's only available for this place. Gangyu doesn't get it, so Kingston tells him that he still has not felt that even here, he has to get better at controlling his energy. Gangyu doesn't know what he's supposed to feel, but Kingston tells him that he will know soon. He lets them fight, but charges Canis, as this will be a one-on-one matchup. She really shouldn't worry for her friend here. He won't harm him, but if he at any point tries to save him, he will kill both of them. If she fights Gangyu well and wins, they will both be let go. Gato does not get what they are after, but Kingston simply wants to see something before dying, to see humans who have reached the peak of humanity. With that, he lets them fight, but not before telling Gangyu to use as many techniques as he can, and not kill her instantly. After all, only with that will he be able to win. Sinka looks outside, and Huang asks if Gangyu really is here. She confirms as such, and he is glad to finally meet him after such a long time. The others probably feel this too. Both sides believe that they are going to win no matter what, but that is a story for another day. And that day is now. Medius repeatedly rewound time and designed the battle against the third generation equality. She saw people like Miyanji, Alterigo, Carfagar, Lipus, and even Utority. She has set a course where they win every single battle. It is a close one, but it will be won. At the table, Medius notes that Gangyu is currently in battle with Canis and Gato. The mystery is nowhere to be seen. Perhaps the strategy is to appear after draining their stamina. Medius notes that she will have to design a future where the hero's stamina is consumed as little as possible. She will have to turn back time further. Gangyu's battle is already going okay, so there is no need to worry about him. He unleashes a Soulstorm barrage on Gato, but seeing that she is being defeated, she begins to transform fully too, and blocks and deflects all of his strikes, becoming a full-on animal, just like Canis. Kingston expected as much. Neither he nor that girl is human. It is his first time seeing animals possess such special abilities. This guy is a dog, and she must be a cat, right? It seems that Sinka really picked up some strange things. Gangyu doesn't care, however, and unleashes a Dark Nova strike, which completely misses. He admits she is good at slipping away, but he uses another technique, the Infinite Black Thunder, to seal Gato in a cube of darkness. Kingston is amused. He's trying to trap her in the darkness and blow her away. It is a decent idea, however, and he refuses to acknowledge that cats are freer and more fearless in the darkness. Because of this, Gato slips away from the cube and strikes, unleashing a deadly, extremely sharp strike on Gangyu's chest. Steam exudes out of his body, but it's because he has defended it, and he is getting increasingly more annoyed. Kingston sees his emotions overriding his thoughts and tells him to calm down. Gangyu takes a deep breath, and then his expression immediately turns placid again. Kingston appreciates that he is quick to regain his composure and tells him not to try to catch and kill her. Has he ever seen a cat get caught easily? It's about energy. He should focus on the flow of the opponent's energy. While training Gangyu, Kingston identified two problems with him. He possessed such an incredibly powerful special ability that he never felt the need to train his physical body. Therefore, regarding the flow of supernatural energy, he was only skilled in its emission. He had never truly sensed the flow of energy moving within. The second problem was his pride. One day, he asked him what he thought of the bastards he might face, and Gangyu said one simple thing, that they are all insects that must disappear. Kingston expected as much, and told him that from this moment forth, instead of seeing his opponent as an insect, he should view them as a fellow martial artist. To train his energy, he must respect his opponent as an individual to grow even faster. Gangyu was surprised, and asked if he had fought while thinking that way all this time. Kingston confirmed as such. He tried to understand what his opponents went through to gain such powers. He gave respect where it was due, and tried to understand them. Gangyu was shocked, but Kingston told him he didn't need to try to understand. Still, he should at least see where they come from. As he continues fighting her, Gangyu doesn't get it. Understand them? Just what on earth could he possibly understand? From this trash? No matter how much he thinks about it, they are all just people who deserve death. However, a thought comes to mind. People who did nothing wrong and were victims of circumstance. People who would forgive others even though they did terrible things. Even Tomoki, who has been sentenced to death. At one point, Tomai explained that when they were young, she was someone who would come running, as if she were the one in pain whenever he fell. So why did things turn out like this? Finally, he remembers the woman who brought him into her own team, who spoke with confidence and trust to everyone there. Now, seeing Gato charge at him, he finally realizes and sees what Kingston has been seeing all this time, the way of everyone's martial arts. Gato knows she's cooked too, and can't even react as he unleashes a devastating strike, completely eradicating one side of her body. Kingston is impressed, and Gato tries to resurrect, as she has more lives, but another devastating strike appears out of nowhere, and she can't resurrect at all. Kingston applauds him. He has taken a few more steps forward, and extremely large steps at that. From this moment forth, there is nothing left for him to teach him. Gang Yu keeps blasting Gato, who wonders why she keeps dying and not resurrecting, or perhaps she is. Seeing that she is being overrun, she unleashes the full brunt of her power, using up some of her lives to completely eradicate the area they were standing on, and they both land down pretty easily. Gato looks at him with a confused expression. That attack just now took away 3 of her lives, and now she only has 5 left. In that moment, Gato felt from Gang Yu the same fear that Kingston, the predator, could instill. She wonders what on earth happened to him to transform so much. Gang Yu tells Kingston to release Canis, as that's enough for now. He gets up and shoots Canis away from the battle like a mangy mutt as he arrives next to Gato. Gang Yu, speaking with absolute confidence, wants to know one thing before he kills them. Why do they follow that crazy woman to such an extent? Gato is immediately annoyed that he called her crazy, but Canis tells her to calm down and asks why he's so curious. Gang Yu, looking completely apathetic, notes that he could call it a change of heart. Canis grits his teeth and explains that they were born with supernatural abilities in the form of beastmen. Because of his appearance, he was ostracized by the pack. Afterwards, he was picked up by humans and subjected to many biological experiments. The one who saved them was Sinka. She came through a portal one day, apparently, and she liked the spark in their eyes. She explained that she was different from other humans, that they were just products of evolution. They are not meant to be experimented on by failures. If they come outside with her, they will change this broken world together. On that day, they received a new life from Sinka. Now he wants to ask one thing as well. Why is it that, even with such strength, he is not joining hands with them? The old Gang Yu would have now exploded in anger at Canis's words, and likely tried to kill him then, but the Gang Yu have now calmly answered that question. First of all, the manifestation of abilities is not a genetic factor. Just because only those with abilities are kept alive, does not mean only children with abilities will be born. Children without abilities can also be born. What will they do in such cases? Will they eliminate them? Call them mutants? Just as they were treated as mutants and discriminated against. If they discriminate because abilities do not exist, it is no different from doing the same thing that was done to them. If they justify discrimination with discrimination, then the things that happen to them would become justified, which is contradictory. Finally, because of what they've done, someone precious to him has passed away. Canis says that couldn't be helped. A sacrifice is needed to create a better world. Gang Yu tells him that if he approaches it that way, then, as he has kept saying, the things they went through can be excused as a sacrifice for someone else. Can they? This leaves the other two speechless. Kingston thinks he is maintaining his composure pretty well now, and that's it. He remembers it well. Anger is an emotion that scatters strategy. One thing he is worried about is whether he can actually maintain his composure if he were to see that brat again. Gang Yu asks if his curiosities are sated, and Canis admits that there are contradictions. Even this world now is full of them. That is why they will follow Sinka. Gang Yu understands if it is so, then he shall begin their execution. Canis looks at Gato and tells her to look for an opening and run away. She must leave and get to Sinka. Before he can finish, however, Gang Yu unleashes a devastating punch, and then a few more right into him. Gato tries to intervene, but Gang Yu just makes her join in his flurry of punches, and begins to completely eradicate them. Kingston is honestly impressed. This is truly magnificent. If it is Gang Yu, if it's really him, then he might be able to make him feel those emotions from that fight once again. Utority is having a strange experience as he keeps looking at his watch. His opponent is confused. Is he not going to fight? What is he doing? Just staring at his watch the entire time. Utority tells her to wait just a moment, and to call him the future association president. She is a little confused. He is going to die here after all. So what does he mean by future? Utority tells her to be quiet, and stares at his watch. The watch turned 30 times, or was it 40? It just turned one more time now as well. His opponent is a little ticked off, as they are just standing here when they could just be fighting it out. Utority stares at the sky, as things have become quite interesting. Have they not? His opponent gets up, indeed calling him the future association president, and notes that she is going to attack first. Utority tells her to do as she pleases. Her first attack will be summoning a shamanistic snake using summoning magic, right? His opponent, who has been pitifully aloof and girlish until this point, turns serious and asks how he knows about that. Utority smiles, as expected. The position of future association president will be his. Maledity is a special type of summoner. Through human sacrifice, she can create totems containing various one-time spells, along with summons. They are known as the Covenants of Capacocha. Calling herself the prophet of the sun god, She grew powerful by sacrificing numerous followers, but was later imprisoned in Ruculus by Ryosa. Ever since Ryosa became the association president, through psychometry users, they analyzed every prisoner's past and abilities. So naturally, she knew that her own abilities had been analyzed as well. She can accept that he knows her abilities. But how did he know she was going to attack just now? This guy really is dangerous. If that is so, she will have to go all out from the start. She uses her totem summon and pulls out every one of them, creating an entire area filled with large totems. She then uses enhancement with her words. The totems begin to come to life, and she uses summon to unleash Inti, the sun god himself, in his Titaya Taita form. Her eyes bleed as she continues doing this, and Inti unleashes its full brunt strike, a gigantic ray beam-like attack that completely eradicates anything in its path, except Maledity. This has taken an incredible amount out of her, but it seems that it wasn't enough. If this didn't kill him, before she can finish thinking, she sees that Utority is on the ground, completely defeated, surprising her. Even she did not expect this. Medius is shocked too, as she was not expecting something like this. It seems that Utority has finally fallen in battle. The others see it's true. There is no signal anymore. Medius is shocked. How did this happen? She clearly predicted the future. Perhaps the future changed, but this has never happened before. One of them notes that they should rewind time and then think. Medius does so, but she wonders what is going on. After she does so, Utority is taken back to the time he was looking up in the sky, where Maledity was asking if he wasn't going to fight. Now he understood. As expected, he was right all along. From a certain point, Utority began to experience moments of déjà vu frequently. He wonders if it is because they are both time-based ability users, but it's only in bits and pieces. He cannot see the entire picture. Still, he can vividly remember intense moments. Is there nothing he could do? There must be another way. And so Utority decided to experience death, the most intense moment for a human. After returning to the original timeline, he was able to read Medius's rewind ability, seeing the hundreds of futures she had skipped over. There is no word from Medius now, and she must have been quite flustered because of what he did, because things aren't flowing according to the timeline she created. In the battle between Utority and Maledity, originally set by Medius, Utority was overwhelmed in the beginning, but starting from the point Maledity summoned Inti, Utority won after consuming more time than expected. Even someone like him, even against such an unruly opponent, since he came after reading the future, did not want to waste any more time. He immediately attacks with 8 times acceleration, as he already knows everything about her movements. If he accelerates time in sync with the opponent's movements, the effect is doubled. This causes Maledity to be struck by 1,000 strikes at once, and she explodes in a mist of blood that rains down on Utority. He thinks it feels good, really good. It feels like his brain cells are accelerating too. Why should he stop at Future Association President? At this rate, he could aim much higher than that. He looks at his watch. He should be getting a call soon. In the future, that kid decided the fight would end around this time. Sure enough, he gets a call, and she asks if there was anything unusual. One question has changed, but since this wasn't the question she originally intended, he'll just let her hear the answer and turn back time again. Utority asks what unusual things she's talking about, and sure enough, Medius rewinds time, deciding to ask if he is hurt anywhere. Utority notes that the woman he fought is more troublesome at the end than he initially thought. He wasted quite a bit of time because of it. Where should he go now? Medius notes that they will monitor the situation further and assign him to a hero who needs support. With that, they close the call, and Utority looks at Maledity's body, which he has not destroyed this time. He laughs. She is asking if anything unusual happened, but of course, something unusual happened. Why would he tell her? Such an arrogant kid. From here on, the future is on his side. He will make good use of her ability. Gang Yu has chained down both Canis and Gato, and asks where their master is. If they tell him, he will painlessly put them out of their misery. Canis scoffs in pain. He is used to pain. He has experienced it more than enough in that laboratory. Gang Yu says that it may be so. However, his comrade seems to think otherwise. Sure enough, tears are streaming down her face, and it's clear that she is in an extreme amount of pain. However, she tells him that he should not worry, no matter how much it may hurt, or how painful it may be. She will never tell him anything. At one point, when Gato tried to run away, the scientist immediately went to her, asking where she had gone. She said that she didn't know, and was beaten because of it. Even through the beatings, even though she saw him through the grates as he was watching this happen, she explained that she did not know anything. Seeing this, Canis let himself be found and restrained in front of her. She wondered why he came back, and Canis told her that he couldn't just leave her alone. Gato noted that if someone could get them both out of here, no matter what, she would serve them for the rest of her life. That is why they decided to follow Sinka after all. Canis explains that Sinka is his first master, and a dog never betrays its master. Gang Yu understands and cocks a fist back. If that is so, then this is goodbye. Before he can unleash that fist, though, Canis lets out one final primal roar, making Gangyu hesitate, and tells Gado to run away right now. Before Gado can move, though, Gangyu unleashes a Dark Nova strike right into her gut, but this allows Canis to move in with a large bite. Gangyu blocks it with his foot, and unleashes Dark Soul Destruction into him, putting him apart from Gato. He tells her not to come, as if she disappeared. Sinka would be very lonely. She should take good care of their master from now on. With that, Gato begins running away in earnest. Gangyu prepares to follow her, but even in his weakened state, Canis refuses to let him go. Gangyu notes that, for someone who is trying to protect such a precious person, how can he feel no guilt at all about taking away someone else's precious person? He is livid with rage, so now he will die. After a few blasts, Canis is pretty much dealt with, and Gangyu looks at him with a complete state of apathy. Kingston arrives, noting that one of them got away. Still, he did pretty well. An opponent with the obsession to protect others can be quite a nuisance to deal with, even for him. He did well enough, however. They can just kill the cat next time. Now who shall they go fight next? Does he have an opponent in mind? Gangyu does. Sinka herself feels the loss of her connection to Canis and begins crying, making the others wonder if she's lost her mind after having not gone outside for long. However, Sinka's tears become indignation. She tells him to just wait, as the preparations are almost complete. She will definitely create the world he wanted to see. Lipus continues her strikes against her opponent. Azuedi continues blocking her strikes. She thinks that, even if she were to put Azuedi aside, the boy's ability is what really bothers her, as he hasn't done anything up until now. What was Medius thinking? Medius herself notes that it seems Utority's side has returned to the planned future, but the others wonder how he really died. He is a man who was once even the association president in that era. Maybe he's gotten old. Medius notes that this has never happened before. She is not sure where the variable showed itself. Perhaps it's a powerful ability affecting that timeline. She will pay attention to Lipus then. The others wonder why, as they see Lipus as a pacifist who doesn't hold back her strength. Wouldn't it be wiser to watch Gangyu instead? Medius explains that perhaps Gangyu is keeping his meeting with Huang in mind. He seems to be controlling his power more than he did during the prison battle. They will focus on the outcome of Lipus's fight. Azuede keeps blocking her strikes, but Pequeño, in his fear, begins to shake uncontrollably. Medius explains that for the first time, she is going to kill someone. Lipus summons binding dolls, which begin to try to penetrate Azuede's shield, but he tells her to stop playing around. She really thinks he can be defeated with something like this, and she should put some effort into her attacks. The reason Lipus's attacks were not lethal was partly that she is a pacifist, but more importantly, it was because of Pequeño's ability. He is in a special class. He is the child who calls upon death. If there was one thing that made him different from the other children, it was that even if he were to see a dead rat on the ground, he would immediately cover his mouth and throw up. He was someone who was exceptionally afraid of death. The catalyst that made Pequeño gain his ability was his grandmother's funeral. He watched his grandmother's cremation with his parents, seeing her burned and then turned into ash. It seemed to have awakened something in him. His mother wondered if he was okay, but his father thought he had to think about death at his age. In his 3rd year of middle school, he is not a small child anymore, is he? That has to be one of the most callous things ever said. Naturally, Pequeño grew traumatized from this. Who would have expected his grandmother, who was always so kind to him, to be placed so pitifully inside that small urn? Will that happen to him when he dies? Naturally, he was scared, and because of that night he awakened. Besides that, he emanated an aura that was an aura of death, which killed his parents on the spot. Due to the death of his parents, his power went out of control even further, and everyone in the city died because of his power. Afterwards, Hub put an end to this horrific situation and ability that releases a deadly aura from the mouth upon contact when experiencing extreme fear. After being imprisoned, Pequeño received intensive psychological and mental treatment. That is why Lipus is trying to reason with him. She tells him now to get out of there and go behind her. He was forced to join Alpha World, wasn't he? There's no way a coward like him would participate in such a terrifying plan. Pequeño agrees that he followed because he had nowhere else to go. Sinka, Azuede, and everyone else were kind to him, so he couldn't betray them. Lipus says that, of course, they're kind because they can't let his ability manifest. He should hurry up and join them over here. However, Pequeño refuses. If he gets caught, eventually he will be executed, and he is scared of dying. His mother told him not to follow strange people, and she is pretty weird. Lipus tells him she is not a weirdo at all, but it must be noted that she has a lot of nerve to say that while wearing those clothes. Lipus summons a gigantic rabbit and explains that she is just someone who likes rabbits, that's all. Azuede scoffs. This woman is using nothing but useless magic. The ability that Azuede wants to steal from Lipus is naturally the meteor summoning. When making physical contact, he can just steal the most recently used magic. When killing an opponent, he can choose and steal any magic he wishes. Therefore, to take away Lipus's meteor, He must either create a way for her to use it, or simply kill her. If he thought to do that, he must sacrifice his pawn. He apologizes to Pequenu, as he is going to need to step it up a bit. Unbeknownst to Lipus, something happens inside of that barrier, but she continues to strike it with that large bunny. Suddenly, the bunny is torn to shreds as Pequenu begins to unleash the full brunt of his berserk ability. Azuede is holding himself up with a shield, and explains that he obtained magic from Maledity, something that summons plants that could cause hallucinations. Right now, what Pequenu sees is probably different from what they see. Perhaps he is in a valley of death, a place he fears most. Lipus holds herself steady with a shield, but she wonders what Azueda did. The scale of the rampage is not just at the level of the 3rd basement floor. It's almost at the level of the 4th or 5th basement floor at least. She wonders what she should do. How can she handle this? At times like these, what would a teacher have done? She remembers her teacher, their first meeting, when her mother called upon him to teach her daughter how to summon magic, which she insisted upon. Lipus immediately called him Beardy, and noted that he was someone who was making a living off their family sponsorship, so she wanted to be taught. That was not a request. It was an order to accept her as his apprentice. Lipus is the only daughter of the chairman of Rabbit Enterprise, one of the world's top 100 companies. The company's original name was Kletter, but the doting chairman changed it to Rabbit due to one of Lipus's tantrums. She was a tomboyish young lady, through and through, which is why she was talking to Mago that way. He, however, found it endearing, and asked why she wished to become so strong. She explained that she watched an anime recently, and the heroes in it looked really cool. Mago asked what kind of thing she was going to summon, and Lipus immediately wanted to show him, but her mother hesitated, noting that they would do it somewhere else. They went outside, and Mago became naturally concerned as Lipus summoned a meteor. Aside from the fact that the meteor was shaped like a carrot, it wasn't something a child should be able to summon. She was a child with frightening talent. If this child strays onto the wrong path, it will bring about a great disaster to the world. He wasn't planning on taking any apprentices, but he accepted her proposition, and Lipus immediately thanked him. Mago added that he can't accept her as an apprentice if she does not know how to be polite. Lipus, however, promised she would be the most polite human being he would ever see. Afterwards, Mago taught Lipus various summoning magics except for Meteor. Naturally, she became annoyed and asked when. Mago told her to speak politely, as they promised, but Lipus was done. Even if she spoke politely, he still wouldn't teach her Meteor. Mago told her that he wouldn't do it right now. He would teach her Meteor once she became an adult. Until then, she must never use Meteor. Absolutely never. Lipus understood. Even though she was an arrogant rich girl, she was also a pretty, kind-hearted child, so she listened to Mago and did not use Meteor. Time passed until she became 20. She was an adult now, so she wondered if she shouldn't start learning Meteor soon. Mago wondered if it really had been that long. No wonder her parents were consulting him about her fashion choices. Lipus noted that she can handle almost every summoning magic right now, but Mago told her that now, they should start preparing, not to use Meteor, but for something far more important than that, to become a hero. He wanted her to become his sidekick. Lipus immediately disagreed, as she just wanted to cast Meteor, a grand and massive meteor. Mago, however, knew how to sweeten the deal. The association will officially make a uniform for her, and even if she dresses to her taste, she can still call it a uniform, and her parents won't be able to say anything about it. Thus, Mago took Lipus as a sidekick, and they went on several missions together. While on missions, Lipus naturally became curious. She wondered how Mago was so strong when he didn't use any offensive magic, and only utilized defensive magic. What she wanted was to cast Meteor, and as more time passed, she was allowed to cast Meteor. But this time, it was on a much grander scale than she would have expected. Mago explained that all the lessons she had with him were the basics of summoning magic, because she had a solid foundation combined with her talent. It resulted in a scale like this in the field of offensive magic. Her talent surpasses even his. She has truly amazing talent. She will become much stronger than he in the future, but she should always remember that those with great power require a great sense of responsibility. Okay, Spider-Man. He congratulated her, as this was the end of his teaching, and hoped that she would become a great hero. She went to Utority, the association president at the time, who noted that normally she was supposed to start from the 5th tier and work her way up. Since she was Mago's top apprentice, they will be starting her at her 3rd tier immediately. There are heroes who are dissatisfied with this, so she will participate in this mission to achieve results and quiet those complaints. Her role is to support a single hero. Since she was a sidekick before, she must be pretty used to supporting, right? Lipus understood and asked who she needed to support. Before Utority could answer, the one she was tested under introduced himself. He is called Hero, a first-generation equality. Hero told her that even if this was her first mission, she should not be nervous, as he would lead her well. Lipus was surprised at how energetic he is. and Hiro asked why she wanted to become a hero in the first place. Lipus explained that at first she thought she wanted to become a hero so she could cast Meteor as much as she wanted. She started with that lighthearted thought, but after meeting Mago, she also wanted to be like him and become a hero who heals the painful parts of the world. Hiro laughed, saying she had a really good teacher. Mago is truly a man worthy of being invited to equality. She has gone on various missions with him, but this is her first official mission, right? Lipus confirmed as such because Mago did not take any missions and acted freely mostly. Hiro was pleased, and he would show her a good example of how to handle an official mission. He will work hard so he won't be disgraced by equality. Lipus agreed, thinking that since this guy was a pretty lively and lighthearted person, everything would be fine, so she went on her first mission. What she couldn't see, because it was hidden by Mago, was discovered now. She was lying immediately in a pool of blood. With Hiro having eradicated a bunch of villains, he told her to stand firm at all times and to get up right now and continue watching him. For the first time, Lipus saw the dark side of Hiro work, something not even Mago could prepare her for. Lipus's first mission was to assist Hiro in subduing Krusty. Krusty was a special type of swarm. She had the ability to plant hosts in people and steal their lifespan, and maintained her youth through this ability. Since she's a rank 3 underground villain, the association judged that Hiro, an equality hero, and Lipus, a tier 3 hero, would be sufficient to subdue her. But there was one variable which Hiro recognized as a second awakening. A second awakening is an abnormal phenomenon experienced by a tiny minority of ability users. Upon a second awakening, the original ability evolves, and new powers get added. Through her second awakening, Krusty gained the ability to control hosts and steal their power instead of just their lifespan. Because of this variable, Hiro and Lipus struggle significantly to achieve their objective. Hiro looked at possessed hosts and thought that no matter how many hosts they subdue, there's just no end to them. Lipus agreed that this is not working at all. They should request backup from the association. Hiro wondered why. This was a problem they could easily solve by themselves. Lipus told him that it's already been 3 days. As more time passes, the number of hostages just keeps increasing, and as hostages increase, the main body just gets stronger. It's a cycle at this point. They need to request backup immediately to gather more heroes, then split into one group to rescue hostages, and another group to deal with the main body. Hiro understood, hearing her say that it does seem like a problem that needs a quick resolution, but he can actually handle all of this himself. Lipus wondered if he actually could, and Hiro, in turn, asked if she ever watched Sentai hero shows when she was a kid. Lipus wondered if he meant that genre where people walk around in spandex like him. She did remember watching a few, but why did he bring it up now? Hiro told her that in those shows, the protagonist is always red, and the protagonist also becomes stronger through someone else's sacrifice. He turned every single one of the hostages into mush right in front of Lipus and cheered, claiming that thanks to everyone's help, he was now glowing bright red. Lipus wondered why he was killing the hostages, and Hiro screamed at her, noting that this is a sacrifice to catch the villain, a noble one at that. Hinokairitsu could originally use the abilities of Sentai heroes, but through his second awakening, he gained an ability. If he becomes red by being covered in human blood, his powers are drastically enhanced. He thanked everyone with glee. He will repay their sacrifices with a just judgment. That day, Lipus tried to stop him as he continued killing hostages, but was subdued instead and lost consciousness. By the time she woke up, everything was already over, as Krusty had been slain by Hiro. The media reported that Hiro successfully eliminated Krusty, and that all of the hostages were dead by the time they arrived. With her world turned on its head, she did not know what to think anymore. She asked Mago if the hero industry had always been like this. That was no hero. It was a monster committing genocide, using sacrifices as shields to do what he wanted. Mago wondered if she saw now why he trained her in defensive magic, because being a hero is a job to protect someone, not to harm them. She was born into a good family and with natural talent. Since she was born with literally everything at her disposal, she probably has not experienced such terrible things. In this world, things like this happen countless times. However, just because the world is different from what she thought, she mustn't turn away. The more that happens, the more a hero must face the uncomfortable reality of the world. Only then can she change it in any meaningful way, because she's a hero, is she not? On that day, Lipus made a vow that as a hero she would never kill anyone. Now that's why she is stuck, and wonders what she should do against this situation. Against the rampaging Pequenu, she thinks of contacting Medius, who immediately responds, noting that this is their several hundredth conversation. To neutralize Pequenu's ability, there is no other way but to use her meteor, which has a large area of effect. If she does not kill Pequenu, his ability will continue to run wild, and if she does not kill him, the future shows the death of half of the heroes there. Pequenu will be subdued by Mianji eventually, but Mianji will also die, due to Pequenu's ability. Only these worst-case futures are in store. It is all up to her to decide what kind of future she wants to build. At that moment, Lipus recalled a conversation with her teacher that she had forgotten, or rather tried to forget. Mago told her then that even though he said all of those things, if, and just if, a moment truly comes when she must kill someone, what will she do? Lipus said that she would never kill anyone, as he said so himself, that heroes exist to protect people. Mago agreed. He did indeed say that. But what if a moment comes where she can only protect people by killing someone? Lipus told him that she would make sure such a situation would not happen in the first place, but Mago told her not to be unwise. As long as she acts as a hero, that situation will surely come at one point. The world is far more cruel and horrific than she could ever imagine. Lipus became curious. If that is so, then did he ever kill someone? Mago didn't answer, and just asked if she was prepared to kill someone. She must be prepared. Otherwise, as she continues her heroic activities, no matter what happens, she will end up broken beyond repair. Utority watches from a distance as he sees Lipus's meteor finally being used. It is beautiful no matter how many times he sees it. Honestly, that rabbit should have used the meteor far sooner. There is no better means of communication than such a thing. Anyway, he should probably contact Medius again in the future. She said he is supposed to ask why the rabbit used the meteor. She really must have a tiring job. Medius herself sees that Lipus has eliminated Pequenu, with one of the staff wondering if she has heard from Lipus. She confirms that she hasn't, but seeing that Utority contacted them after witnessing the meteor, it seems she used it to eliminate Pequenu. One of them wonders if Lipus will be okay, and Medius agrees. She is a hero after all. With this, it seems that the battle of the equality heroes will be over soon. One of the assistants notes that it was Miyanji, Altarigo, and Carfagar in that order, right? Medius doesn't share information about the future with heroes other than the staff here. The reason is that if the future is shared with heroes who have information about that future, they would use that information to try to change it themselves, causing countless different timelines to merge together and create a mess. Therefore, with her rather limited lifespan, she doesn't tell the heroes their futures. In a single timeline, where the future is shared only with the staff, she pieces together a large puzzle. Currently, Medius has advanced time up to the battle of the equality heroes. Once that battle is over, she will have to design the future beyond that. There are a few things that bother her, however. One of them is the fact that Sinka and some of the 4th and 5th floor prisoners have not appeared just yet. Additionally, the fact that Utority died once, unlike in the determined future. Does that mean there are variables in her time ability? Or perhaps he has a hidden ability even she does not know about. She decides it's impossible, as her time ability is invincible. Lipus's meteor made many people feel various emotions. As Kingston and Gungyu walk together, Kingston notes that the last time he saw a magic attack of this scale was during his youth. Standing over the meteor aftermath, Asweda thinks that it is extremely frustrating. Why did God not grant him such talent? If only he could steal that ability, he could rule the world. He is taken out of his thinking stupor as Lipus ascends to the air and puts her hand forward, her face more determined than ever. She unleashes a rough magic strike that is filled with hatred, and as Wedi tries to block it and succeeds, it's pretty clear it is taking something out of him. He is glad to see that she is finally planning to take this seriously. She should go ahead and try to break through her own master's defensive magic. Lipus tells him to shut up and puts her hand in the air, creating several magic circles. Aswed watches countless carrot-like meteors descend onto him, creating a sight that is both horrifying and magnificent. The artist from before thinks this is it. Today is truly such a great day. So much inspiration is coming to him. He does not have the ability to draw at all. He asks number 4 if he agrees, and also wonders if he's dead. The maid holding his head notes that he is rather weak, but the artist thinks that it is because she is too strong. Even if he looks like that, he is equality, right? She must be truly amazing. The maid blushes at this rather welcome praise, and Alter Ego tries to lunge at her, but she dodges and cuts him right in half using her battle axe. She thinks that he is far too weak. Are these guys really equality? The artist laughs. Even if they are weak, that regenerative power is bordering on miraculous, as expected of a Terapia clone. It is rather interesting to think that clones share their abilities, though the shared ability seems somewhat weaker than the original. This is Alter Ego, a clone of Terapia, who possesses a super regenerative ability that prevents death no matter what. Had a question pop up in his head one day. What would happen if he cut himself exactly in half and regenerated? Since consciousness does not regenerate, would one body remain a shell? What if a psychometry user transferred memories into that body? Or is it more likely that regeneration would only occur on one side? With that in mind, he began to organize this hypothesis and planned the following experiment. Since the body regenerates from the largest body part, it must be cut exactly in half. He also had to make the cutting process very slow, so that both sides regenerate and push each other away. The result of that experiment was another version of him. The Terapias did not fight over who was the original. They both knew fighting would not be helpful, and knowing that it would lead to mutual destruction, they were not foolish enough to do it. The Terapias decided their numbers by flipping a coin, and they carried out activities to collect test subjects. As time passed, they began talking. One of them, number 1, told number 2 that equality has been chasing after them lately. It seems they need to increase their numbers more. Number 2 agreed. Their strength is quite bothersome, so they need more of them to fight. And so, the Terapias multiplied once again. Of the 2 clones that were made, when they were deciding on numbers again, one of them wondered what they were all talking about. A new variable occurred. One of the clones did not know where he was, or who he was. That would be him. Subject number 4. Alter Ego gets up, noting that he is not number 4. He is called Alter Ego for a reason. The artist finds him rather disgusting. Can he even dare to call himself human? Alter Ego doesn't care no matter what anyone tells him. He is still human. The question is, however, what is a human? The other Terapias found number 4 really interesting. To think that a completely different personality could have been formed. Where did the error occur in the first place? Where the memory was not fully transferred. The Terapias decided to borrow the power of a psychometry user and tried transferring all of his memories to number 4. However, he could not take them and threw up whenever they tried. One of the Terapias wondered what was happening. Did an error occur because there was too much information transferred all at once? Alter Ego wondered how they could do such horrible things, and the Terapias realized it was completely useless. Number 4 refused to cooperate with the Terapias and set himself apart from them, as if he were an entirely different person. Seeing this, the Terapias monitored number 4 to prevent him from ever escaping, and after number 4 was created, the Terapias never split again. The Terapia himself, however, had a thought, a mental puzzle of sorts, wondering how far humanity could evolve. Human civilization began with bare hands in the past, and has evolved up until now. Currently, by obtaining the power of abilities, human evolution is transcending the realm of reality. Evolution is about rapid growth in extreme situations, so they needed to research the evolution of humanity. With all of them agreeing, the Terapia, along with his clones, kidnapped test subjects to perform human experimentation, and so he occupied an entire city and used it as his experimental site, carrying out countless human experiments that would put the most horrific war crimes to shame. Naturally, number 4 had no part in this. He was just a bystander. He would restore the test subjects broken by Terapia's experiments, and secretly release them sometimes, but he was soon caught and imprisoned in the basement. After he was caught, one of the Terapias noted that, even if he was an error, they had treated him as one of their own since he is a part of them, but if he continues acting like this, they will be left with no choice. Number 4 called them all trash, and told them not to treat him like he was the same as them, but that is exactly what Terapia intended to do from this moment forth, and so he was subjected to numerous experiments by Terapia. Time passed, and eventually the second-generation equality hero Wu Ji arrived at a city occupied by Terapia. He immediately began fighting the Terapias, who were expecting equality to find this place. Eventually, Wu Ji channeled his power, noting that his regenerative power is disgusting, no matter how many times he looks at it, to think that he could split himself. So which one of them is the original? The Terapias told him that there is no such thing as an original because they are one. So then, are they all immortal? Terapia did not think so. If they lose their ability control device, they will die without being able to regenerate. Wu Ji asked, if that is so, then, as long as they have their abilities, they will not die. Terapia had never died before at that point, so he couldn't answer his question. Wu Ji understood then that the answer to that question would be decided today. Terapia was rather surprised. Ever since Raosa became the Hero Association president, he has heard that all heroes have moved towards a no-kill policy. Did the association president change in the meantime? Wu Ji, however, told him that he said specifically they were all one, so it should be fine, as long as at least one of them is alive, right? The Terapia told him that it made no sense, but Wu Ji immediately crushed the other 2 clones into mush using his mighty balls. He wanted to experiment to see whether he really died or not, the kind of experiments that he loved so much. After he was done, he captured one Terapia. The others had been killed, as crushing and burning them seemed to be effective after all. He went to Mianji, asking if she was done, and she was. She has rescued all of the trapped citizens in the basement. However, there was a man in the lab who looked much like Terapia, so she brought him along for now. Wu Ji understood, so one clone remained. Then, he will have to deal with it too, as he told Mianji to take the citizens and go outside. One of them took a step forward, and then another person did so, until they were all in front of Alter Ego. They asked what they were planning to do with this person, and explained that he is different from Terapia. He even looked after them in that basement. Wu Ji wondered what they were talking about. Was this the effect of some sort of experimentation? Maybe brainwashing? They exclaimed that it was the truth, and that they were not changed mentally, and Mianji told her master that what these people are saying is correct. Actually, After she attacked and neutralized the control device in the basement and went down, that man was treating the victims. Seeing this, Wuji knew that this was out of his jurisdiction, and the matter of number 4's disposal was submitted to the Hero Association. Rausa began the meeting about his situation with Tomai, noting that a clone of Terapia really is a pitiful existence. Mago wondered why Hiro was here in the first place, with Hiro wondering what his problem was. Utority thought that the clone of Terapia could become their ally, which was pretty interesting. Well, he is going to do the opposite of whatever Rausa tells him anyway, so there is no need to worry about it. With that, the meeting of the Equality members officially began. Before the meeting began, Rausa looked into whether there were any cases similar to the one called number 4. The first case is when a psychometry user transfers their consciousness and memories into a robot before death. The second is when a summoner-type user summons a creature with its own ego, and then falls in love with that summon. There are countless cases of children with summoning abilities, summoning imaginary friends that possess their own consciousness. So, what was the outcome of all this? They were all disposed of, and that was back during Utority's time as association president. Utority told them that this was a pretty obvious answer. If they allowed the first case, managing psychometry users, who were already a pain to deal with, would become even more difficult. At that time, psychometry users were using their abilities to illegally trade in the manipulation and deletion of memories too. But if they recognized a robot with transplanted memories as human, transactions that transcend death would continue to occur and could be exploited for crimes. Time, the only thing that humans possess equally, must not be allowed to become unequal. Mago thought it was rather funny to hear him talk about equality. As for the first, second, and third cases, Mago agrees that even if a summon has an ego of sorts, if its life depends on its summoner, it is different from a human who has their own reason for existence. They are simply pitiful beings, if they are viewed that way. To prevent such things from happening, they must teach children about the dignity of life and humanity from a young age. Therefore, if such situations continue to occur in the future, they should persuade the children to release the summons themselves, rather than forcibly removing the summons like in Utority's time. Utority told him that having emotional battles with brats was a waste of time. They learn naturally as they grow up anyway. Rausa heard them well, and asked how they should consider number 4 then. Should they view him as human or not? First, are there any heroes who believe he should be viewed as human? The camp that thought so was Tomai, Mago, and Hiro, surprisingly. He explained that even if he is a clone of Terapia, he did turn against him. Did he not? Then does that not mean he is on their side? Utority opposed it, and Hiro immediately changed his mind, noting that he opposed it too. Utority got up from his chair and asked what a human is. Better yet, what is the existence known as I? He is a unique being, the only one in this world. However, if that thing is a clone with 100% identical genetic information to Terapia, then it is a denial of his very existence, and it contradicts the human rights for criminals that they all shout about so much. Don't they all value the human rights of criminals? Are they denying Terapia's uniqueness as a human being? Tomai told him that even if they are genetically the same, they do have separate egos. Rather than seeing them as just one, they should be viewed as two. Utority shut her up and pointed his finger at Ryosa. She, the association president, is going to do whatever she wants to anyway, isn't she? Arguing any further is just a waste of time. Rausa agreed with a smile, since she was the association president. She was the one to make the final decision. Utority got a little mad, and told her to enjoy it while she still can, because she won't be able to for very long. Rausa had heard all of their opinions, and had thought of a solution as well. Wuji said that, since he handled the Terapia case by himself, he decided to monitor him personally. Utority knew it. She had already decided, so why did she waste their time like this anyway? Rausa told him that it had not been long since she became association president, so she wanted to hear his advice. With that, they concluded the meeting, but then she told everyone to step out, as she wanted a private conversation with Utority. After they did so, Utority wondered what kind of conversation they could possibly have, but Rausa immediately went for the heavy punch, and asked if he believed his ideology was always correct. As they talked, Wuji and Mianji went to Alter Ego and told him about everything. For those reasons, they had decided to be with him starting today. Alter Ego understood. They were his monitors, and Wuji told him that monitor sounded a bit too stiff, so he should refer to them as future companions. He introduced himself, and Alter Ego thought about himself, but Wuji would not give him a name. They should just get to know each other from this moment forth. From that point, Number 4 carried out numerous operations alongside Wuji, mostly healing countless people with his power. Wuji found it ironic. The original used his ability to cause pain to so many, yet this clone was bringing salvation. Time passed, and at one point, Wuji told Alter Ego that, hurtful as it might sound, he did not consider him human. Due to his religious convictions, he could not possibly think of him as a human being. However, he was far more human than anyone he had ever seen in his life. With this, the monitoring was over. From this moment forth, he should live his life freely. Alter Ego wondered what he was supposed to do with his life, and Wuji told him that was for him to decide. He should do what he wants to do, and do what he can do. After that, Number 4 began doing his activities as a hero much more earnestly. At first, there were those who naturally did not look kindly upon him due to Terapia's notoriety as a villain, but as he traveled all over the world healing the sick and the poor, people began to accept him for who he was. In recognition of his countless contributions, he was eventually recognized as a human by the government, and he even gave himself a name. At that point, a great change occurred within him. As the maid cuts him apart again, thinking that he is really starting to get annoying, she is suddenly hit by a shockwave and made to skid on the ground before falling roughly on it. The artist wondered what he did. Was there an ability like this among Terapia's powers? Alter Ego notes that there is no way he could possibly know, because this is not Terapia's ability, it's his ability. Alter Ego is a physical and special type, and that special type is shock absorption. Upon the realization that he gained a new ability, Alter Ego immediately went to Wu Ji, who was shocked to hear that abilities are overwhelmingly more likely to be acquired later in life than to be innate. However, possessing 2 or more types of abilities only happens when they are innate. Terapia's ability must be innate, and so it's not a second awakening, but he gained a new ability by himself. By treating an independent ego as another human being, perhaps an acquired ability manifested. Mianji thought that was amazing. She has never seen a case like this. Perhaps even the heavens have acknowledged him as human, and bestowed upon him a new ability. Alter Ego, however, told her that he intended to avoid using this ability as much as possible. He believes the reason he, a clone of Terapia, was acknowledged as human, is that, unlike the original, he healed people instead of harming them. But this new ability he gained is specialized in only harming people. That is why he cannot use it so recklessly. Thus, Alter Ego never used his newly acquired ability even once. Even though he knew how to use it, time passed, and on the day of the 4th Association President election, he went to Mianji, where he thought that this place was always so lively. That is entirely because he was here, right? Alter Ego was flattered, and noted that he had heard her change her stance to support Medius. Could he ask why that is? Mianji asked if he remembered when he first gained his ability, and came to see her and her master. They talked that day. What they told him still stands. Wuji noted that he respected his philosophy regarding his humanity. However, he should not think of it as the right answer. The standards of humanity change according to times and circumstances, and new standards are sometimes created. The current standard might fit his situation now, but it could change at any point, and that day will surely come. But even if the standards do change, even if his thoughts change, he hopes he won't be confused about his existence because, as he said, he is the most human out of all humans that he has seen, and the fact that he is human will not change. Just as her master said, she thinks it is time they change to protect people. He has many people he needs to protect, after all, right? Alter Ego looked at the people on the street, and because of her words, Alter Ego came to support Medius. He tells his 2 opponents to surrender now, as he will spare their lives. He does not want to harm them if he can help it. The artist notes that he was just a mere clone. He should stop putting on a human act and pretending to show mercy. The maid, however, is annoyed, as this puts her in an extremely bad mood. She charges forth, cutting Alter Ego in half again. He notes that during the few years that he has been active as a hero, he's never used this ability once, meaning that his body has accumulated years of damage. Unfortunately, he is not very good at controlling his strength. With that, he unleashes a shock absorption attack so devastating that it lights up the entire area and kills the 2 on the spot, leaving behind just craters and dust. Alter Ego looked at the scene, thinking that this was the first time he had killed people. Even so, even with this, will people still look at him as human? Meanwhile, Mianji continues fighting Hong, and Hong easily defends against her green attacks. She notes that she still finds it difficult to control that green mask, doesn't she? The guy notes that they seemed pretty close back then too. He is feeling rather jealous about this. Hong notes that they are basically in a love-hate relationship. Mianji is her first owner after all, even though she abandoned her. 10 years ago, Mianji, at age 12, went with Wuji to Meigo and called him the mustache guy, but Meigo retorted, calling him bald monk. Mianji said hello to Mr. Mustache Guy, who told her his name was Meigo, so Mianji said hello to Mr. Mustache Guy Meigo, and he did not have the heart to correct her any further. Meigo asked Baldy what his purpose was here, with Wuji telling him he shaved his head on purpose, but Meigo did not care. That still made him a Baldy. Wuji told him that it was nothing major, but he wanted to consult him about a certain thing. He is knowledgeable about abilities, right? Meigo wondered if this little girl in front of him is a summoner type, and Wuji denied it. Even he knew enough about abilities in humans, so there was no need to come to him with that. However, this is a consultation about the fox in her arms, the one they call Hong. Thank you for watching. See you next time.